What's up, Jason?
How are you?
I'm doing very well, my friend. Thank you very much. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Pretty good. All except for the football game.
Except which one?
Yeah, right.
Yes, everyone. I am very, very proudly wearing my Michigan Wolverines jersey here, representing Charles Woodson, Hall of Famer, NFL Hall of Famer, and all-time Michigan great, for taking our much vaunted foes, the Michigan State Spartans, to the woodshed yesterday. And of course, today getting payback by having Jason's and my Lions being taken to the woodshed by the Baltimore Ravens.
Painful.
Yeah, sometimes you just can't buy a win, I guess. You know.
No.
I don't know what happened, but whatever. It is what it is. Hi, everybody. Want to say before I forget, as I sometimes do, thank you to the new subscribers. You guys know who you are. I unfortunately only had one of you whose name I could see that was visible to me this week. An interesting new subscriber. Here, let me put it up for you. Shout out, of course, to you, Mr. Fuck you, pay me. Thank you, Mike Dellery. Let me tell you, I loved seeing that. You're going to have to tell me why you got yourself another clandestine or not so clandestine account on YouTube or Gmail. That's very interesting. But I am waiting, everybody, so you know, Mike, that's nsnart.com for those of you who do not know yet. Mike is producing, man, Mike, you should put it in the chat. A medallion, I guess he calls it, a metal medallion of this art piece by one of the artists he represents. And on the art piece, there's a woman, and it says, "Fuck you, pay me." And the reason I'm buying one of those, not only to support Mike, but I'm buying, it's limited to one of 100, right, Mike? If you're still there. I'm not in the comments. I'm not in the chat yet, so I don't know if you're even there. But I would think you would show up just to see if I acknowledge you vocally, Mr. Fuck You, Pay Me. But I'm getting one because, as I told Mike, when he told me about this project of his, I said, interestingly enough, I used to, when I was younger, my younger days, I used to lend friends money willy-nilly, more moocher types than others. And I'd lend out money because I'm a good guy. And the moocher types, of course, are the type of people who would make me chase after them.
Right.
Don't you hate those kind of people? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't do me a favor, and yet you're acting as you're forcing me to come after you, and you're acting when I do come nicely to ask you for the money. You're acting like you did me a favor, telling me to relax, take your time, relax. The money's coming. No, fuck you, pay me. You see? And that's what used to happen. I literally had to say that to friends. And so when he told me about this project and he showed it to me, I was like, that's awesome. I have to try that. I can so relate to that. Thank you very much, Mike. There you go. So nsnart.com, everybody, if you want to know more about what that project is about. See, what a plug, Mike. There you go. Let me go and jump into the chat, everybody, because there's a ton of comments. I'm sure half of them are everybody saying hello to each other. Let's see. Yeah, there's me at the beginning. Mr. Red Jack, what's up, sir? Good to see you. Good to see you, Rick, as always. All right, to reminisce, World fan, to indulge in enjoyable recollection of past. Oh, I know, but reminisce. Okay, it's just because you had misspelled it, right? Let me see. Oh, that's me saying to you. Because it's like the Oh, I guess that is how you. Okay, it looked weird. Sorry, man. It looked weird, all in one word like that. The reminiscer. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Yes, that's very, very correct. I love to reminisce. Very much so. Good evening to you. Happy Sunday. Welcome back, Jason. Why your number one fan?
Thanks, Vivian. Appreciate it.
Number
Appreciate
one and still only fan.
That's right.
I'm joshing you. Oi, Paulie P, what's up? What's up, Paul? Paulie P, everybody, check out Paul. Paul, let everybody know, for those of you who still collect comics, Paul still has comics. He has really awesome comics, CGC stuff. And I just noticed him putting up for sale some really great CGC comics, graded comics on his Instagram. Didn't even realize he was on Instagram. And so I had to follow him on Instagram, even though he didn't follow me back. Don't know what's up with that, but still plugging you, my friend. But yeah, he's selling these. I keep seeing he keeps posting these comics and they keep selling. So I guess your prices are good, Paulie. So good job. Good job.
Must be getting ready to buy something big.
You know, typically collectors are like that, right? So yeah, I'm not. I'll let him say it. Arenas owns so much art. I am looking forward to Back to the Past episode. Hey, Paul, this is our final episode. 8th and final episode. I mean, there's a small chance I could do something like this in the future. But this is just the stuff that I had made photocopies of, right? And in the end, it turned out to be like I had figured, less than 300 pieces of art. So this is just a tiny, tiny smidgen of what I used to own. So if I ever had the time to somehow go through my scans on my hard drive, you know, and just start picking out things that I used to own and sold that have nothing to do with having photocopied, I could do more shows, except, yeah, that would take a lot of time. So probably not. But yeah. But that's a good joke, though. So I love that. Howdy to you. Dwayne's a pain, as always. The Oklahoma kid. What's up? Hey, didn't Oklahoma pull off a 2-point victory yesterday? The Sooners, baby. I think so. Man, I got to go and look at all the highlights and stuff. Oh, Karen. What's up, Karen? Good evening, my friend. Hello.
Good evening, Karen.
Good to see you, as always. Flip. Go Flip. Nah, go Dolphins. Yes, I'm with you. I have always hated the Eagles, especially after they beat my boy Tommy back in, what was it, 2017 for the Super Bowl. So yes, go Fish. Remember that game? Go Fish, the card game when we were.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, good stuff. Wow, Dino, haven't seen you in a while. What's up, Dino? Good to see you, sir. What else we got? Okay, all the interpersonal hellos. Hello, Karen, Vivian, Oakland Raider. What about the Oakland Raider? Who's an Oakland Raider? I'm coming late to it, so of course, 8 minutes. Let me catch up real quick to your comments. Good day to you, David. Good to see you. All the way from Oz, as always. And, oh, here, let me put you up there. There you go.
Hey, David.
We'll make you famous. And evening all, CJ Design. What is up, sir? Good to see you, CJ. Why is our Earth so expensive? So I guess you guessed right. You guessed correctly there, Jason.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he's selling those books, you know? That is so funny. Oh, my CJ. There you go. Marcus knows it. He knew it was a fuck you, pay me. Awesome. Good day, everybody. I want my $2. $2. That's awesome. Friends like that are enemas. Yeah, no, it wasn't typically for $2, but like it was a minimum of $20, you know, 40. Sometimes it was 100, 200, whatever. Oh gosh, whatever. Anyways, good fellas in the house. Sorry, man, I suck at following. Yeah, no worries. I've got some great silver Spideys for sale right now, and if there's anything people want from silvers, what's better than the Spideys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. But Paul, mention because I can't remember since I only saw it last night for the first time. Mention what your Instagram name is. I don't remember if you went by Paul Pappas, Paul P, or whatever. So mention that for everybody's sake who wants to check it out. Yeah, games. Oh yeah, Central Florida, Dwayne. That's right. That's right. Yeah, and I believe it was a 2-point win. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy because, like, come on, man. Like, Central Florida, what the hell? Yeah, UCF. There's years where they're good, then there's years where they're kind of bad, not so good. Not one of the better historically Florida programs, you know. Yeah, big egos. Yep, Marcus, I'm with you, baby. Mickey, you're lurking there. Excellent, no worries, man. Yeah, Charles Woodson, baby, what's up? Number 2, represent. And I am not following. Don't apologize. I honestly, I don't care. You know what, Paul? My Instagram, I worked like a dog to try to build a following, right? I was like online reading up on all the tips that everybody give. Like, what do you do? What's the proper way to post? How often do you post? All that stuff, right? I did it exactly as I was supposed to do it for a few months. And all I had was like 130 something followers. I was like, Jesus, all that work just for that pathetic following, right? I'm like, I was gonna say, forget this crappy website, right? And I kind of did. I said, okay, screw the posting like every day or every second day, like I was doing whatever. I stopped. Jason, listen to this. I stopped. I was like so sick of it. I stopped posting altogether, right?
Right.
A month, not in a month, sorry. A week goes by of no posting at all. And all of a sudden, one day I get like 7 followers, right? And I look at everyone because I'm like, I'm curious. Oh, people who like you, you figure, oh, maybe you have something in common with them, right?
Right.
So I look at their pages and I see that none of these people, I would bet money they've even heard of the word comic book in their lives. Okay, no joke. It was like 7 people from like Bangladesh, somewhere in the Middle East.
The bots are liking you.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. And it just kept going every day. Another 5, another 7, another 3, another 12. No joke. Over 4 months, in which I continued to not post. Suddenly I went from 130 something followers to 860 something.
So okay? The secret is don't post on your social media.
Yeah. And here's the thing is then I did start using it again. But whenever I felt like posting, I would post. And whenever I didn't, I didn't, not following the posting rules as they tell you to do it or whatever. And since then, I am still stuck somewhere in the 860 something area.
Yeah. You need to take a break again for a week.
Yeah. I don't care anymore. Like I just finished using it the way you're supposed to use it, whatever, all that bull crap.
Right.
I bet you, like 90% of my followers are all fake. And it doesn't matter anyways, because in the end, what I noticed is it's just like Facebook. The reach, they allow all your posts. In other words, how many people actually gets to see your stuff. Out of my 860 something people, it's always consistently only roughly between 125 people and 135 people that actually get to see my stuff.
See it.
Right? So like, whatever. Who cares, right? So whatever. I post personal shit now, and just the embarrassing pictures from my youth and stuff like that, whatever. And I use it to still advertise, what I'm doing on here on YouTube, whatever.
Yeah, right.
Whatever. So there you go. All right. So CJ, that was a beautiful one. No skin shown. Skin on what? No crypto scheme. Not for me, that's for sure. That is a bizarre story. Social media is whack. Yeah, whatever. That's just how they work, whatever. Because they want you to pay them. That's why they limit your reach, because they think that they want a small percentage of people that are obsessed enough with their social media that are desperate enough for people to hear and see what they have to say and show, that they will see these ads telling them, hey, for only $5, we can get you up to another 1,000 people who will see your post if you pay us for those $5. It's a scam.
Yeah.
It's a scam, whatever. So that's it. Ain't paying you jack shit. And I don't care if you don't show my stuff to anybody, whatever. So there you go. And that's true. They want people to pay for more exposure. That's right. Whatever. So, All right. So everybody, yes, let me get back to the shouting out my newest sub. I can't believe you didn't show up. Fuck you, pay me. Mike, you're not there. I can't believe it, but whatever. Hopefully you'll check it out and see this on Rewind and enjoy it and have a good laugh. All right. So there you go. Thank you very much. And yeah, I will do my promo for Nikki B later in the show. For now, Jason, you want to get into the show and tell?
Let's get into it, but acknowledge TJ's post. His social media is working out well for him.
Oh, hold on. Did I miss that? Oh, I didn't see TJ came in right at the end. Hey, I am getting $1 million from Bangladesh. Of course, you gave them your bank. You better have given them your bank, because otherwise you can't get that money, you know.
Right.
Give them all your banking information, including your social security number, all of it. Make sure you give everything they ask for, because otherwise you'll never make it.
You'll miss out. You'll miss out.
That's it.
Yeah.
The
Sure.
opportunity of a lifetime. So, oh, that's so funny. All right, everybody, let us get into this. So tonight, last episode, so we left off last week's episode with an unknown piece. Well, piece by an unknown artist. You remember that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We start this final episode of Back to the Past with one more artist unknown piece. And I just thought, if anybody has a guess as to whether this might be a pro or whether it's an amateur, I always chalked it up to being an amateur. But if it looks familiar to anybody, and you, Jason, please let me know. Two very popular characters at any rate, and I just thought it was kind of cool. So yeah, let me get to that first piece, everybody. Here we go. Wolverine and Gambit. I just wrote it as illustration because I figure it's not, meant to publish the cover or anything like that,
It's not one of these inventory cover.
No. And you also know, because of the fact that the Wolverine logo is drawn in.
Yeah.
And, they're not going to, the artists ain't going to waste their time doing that, right? Because they don't get paid for lettering, even if they do decide to do the lettering,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I thought it was like really, really lovely, especially the rendering, the inking. I was like,
the rendering, is very nice. I like
high level stuff,
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this, if this is not a pro, I was like, it could be somebody on the verge of going pro.
It's back in the bone claws days of Wolverine, and I hated that. But
yeah. The bone claws it's one of those elements of Marvel history that has its fans, and it has probably like an equal amount of fans as well as detractors.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of people who love it, but a lot of people who hate it as well, card art. Oh, and that in case anybody's wondering, no, that those two back of the cards there that you see, those are not drawn by hand. Those are actually cut out and pasted on.
Oh, really?
Yes. Oh my God, are you crazy? That would have been insane. I would not have looked and even talked about Gambit or Wolverine. I would have just said, everybody, forget the characters. Look at those two playing cards. That's all you need to look at, So yeah, like Paul says, that's pretty high level. Yeah, exactly. That's why it's interesting to see stuff like this. You wonder why, even if if you are an amateur and you're doing this, why wouldn't you at least sign it?
Yeah, right.
Carefully.
Yeah, for sure.
Eventually, you're going to give it to somebody or sell it to somebody. The piece will be out there. At least let somebody know your name in case you ever do make it. You
don't remember anything on the back of it?
Oh no, it had nothing. There was nothing. Yeah, sounds like we need a Robert Stack. Yes.
So
sir.
this kind of makes me think of something slightly off topic, but if you come across what's advertised as a tryout page for a known artist, how are those perceived? Are those on par with that artist's other work, or is it considered substandard because it's
so a tryout page by a known artist?
Right.
Yeah, no, that's definitely typically, I'll tell you honestly, those are not typically very highly sought after. I can tell you that. Mm-hmm. They don't sell for all that much. I remember, I don't know, was it a year or two ago? I remember some of Butch Guice's pre-pro tryout pages. Really cool to look at. because on the one hand, it's so cool to see, wow, like this was some of your first earliest storytelling stuff. On the other hand, you're like, okay, I can see why it's definitely tryout, right? Not that it's bad, it's just not quite there, you know. But close to being there, you know. And you know, I think there were I think 3 or 4 of them sort of surfaced, and I think if I remember correctly, they kind of sold for like, I don't know, $250 or something like that, you know, in that range, you know. But stuff like this, there's a little bit different because it's not quite apples to apples in the sense that it's, first of all, it's a cover-looking piece, not panel pages, right?
Right.
And with 2 highly popular characters like Wolverine and Gambit. Listen, I sold it at the time. I mean, well, my asking price I think was $175, but this was probably year 2000 or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
So I probably sold it for around that, which it's good money given that I knew nothing about the artist.
Right. Yeah.
No name attached to it. I even advertised it as probable amateur piece, whatever, you know. So to get that kind of value back then, it was still good, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I mean, I would still, if I'm the collector, I would still personally rather get something like a tryout piece by a vintage one from a known artist who's already been in the hobby for 30 or in the industry for 30, 40 years, you know. That's just my preference.
Sure.
Tryout pieces that are made by current artists, it's still, if it's high level stuff, I would buy it if it was cool and interested me. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's, I guess, to case by case basis. You know?
Sure.
And I'm just curious, CJ and Marcus, you say Anthony would like that. This is a dueling dealer special round 2. What do you mean by that? I don't know by either of your comments. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm not sure what you mean by that either. How much did you buy it for? I mean, if I sold it for $175, I'd probably cost me back then maybe 100 to 100 or 100 and a quarter. Probably I would have paid for it if I was pricing it at 175. Though I may have, in those days, I most of the time had to give a deal. It was far more rare that I would get asking price. I always had to give some sort of deal. So if I've had it for 175, there's a very high probability I probably had to sell it for 150. So I would think I would keep, when I bought it, I would have that in mind, and therefore probably be thinking, look, I got to make at least $50 out of this damn thing. So I would think it cost me no more than 100, not 1 1/4. I would not have wanted to pay 1 1/4. Yeah, I would probably pay maximum 100. So in case I have to drop it to 150, at least I'm making my 50%, whatever, you know. That's kind of how I used to look at it back then, you know.
When you started out, would you go to shows and commission artists to do pieces for your inventory? Or would you just publish pages?
No. And interesting that you asked that. It's a great question, Jason, because I did not do that for my inventory. However, later in this show, in tonight's show, I'm going to show you some pieces, some of the very few that I, in my career in this hobby, did commission, that I did sell. But when I commissioned them, it was not with the intention for them to be inventory. I bought them because I thought, oh, this is going to be fun and cool for me to collect. And then that's early on how I learned maybe they're cover recreations.
Okay.
Maybe cover recreations are just not for me. That's when I kind of started to learn, like, yeah, they're cool in a sense. But once once I've had it and I've looked at it for a while, I'm like, okay, I don't need to keep this anymore. Because I don't know, for me, it just feels like, well, I know it's not the original. So
therefore,
it's not the same thing. It's not quite the same, you know, and so we'll catch that later. But okay, thank you for letting me know, CJ, that Anthony loves gambling. I know he likes gambling, and because of the card thing. Okay, yeah. Rick says Dale Keown greater than unknown. Nice. Okay, let us get into the second piece, everyone. And from there, we go to the letter V. Letter V for Sal Velluto.
Oh, that's killer.
Yeah, I always thought that was
yeah.
great. And I can feel Mark is coming with a, but Ruben!
Can't see his face.
Yeah, exactly. He's upside down and you can't see his face. But
yeah, the body work there is just great.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, I have to admit, back when these were coming out onto the market, I was like, wow, I love this is how I discovered who Sal Velluto was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, wow, like this guy's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, like I just love this inking. Very, very well, I mean, not that he inked, but his penciling was meant to be inked that way by Bob Almond. Yeah, he had a very realistic sort of old Neil Adams type approach to it.
Mm-hmm.
He always, I will admit, Sal always did have certain problems with anatomy.
Yeah, the Killmonger figure is
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, he always had these weird anatomical issues, but I loved his style so much that I was always willing to overlook it. And I can't say the same about a lot of artists, but in some cases I do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't mean that I will overlook it to the point of denial. You know, I'll never deny that if I'm, you know, because I think it's worthy of, you know, it's a teaching moment, if you will, and especially
right. Yeah,
shows like this. You know, I'm not going to start, you know, explaining to everybody with, you know, break it down and do a teaching lesson, but whatever, people can figure it out. People can figure it out like you did on your own, and yeah, that's it. You know. But yeah, really loved his stuff, and it was very popular at the time. I remember it was very popular too because everybody was talking about it. Not only because the art was really nice, but Christopher Priest apparently was doing a great job. Everybody was like raving about the writing, you know.
Yeah.
And for those of you who may not know, potentially even you, Jason. Christopher Priest, if you know him as a writer, he is the writer formerly known as Jim Owsley back in the 80s. So if you remember a Jim Owsley, Owsley, from the 80s, yeah, he changed his name to Christopher. Yeah. So just interesting little tidbit there. I know you'd come up. I see, because I spoiled the one you were gonna say, so you had to come up with a different one. Ruben is defeated. Thank you. It is indeed a cool cover, Karen. Thank you for pointing that out. Just checking in, always only to register my like. Apologies, no worries. Comic Art Boston, good to see you.
Evening, Cab.
And owl.
Yeah, that's an owl. Owlsley.
Oh, Owsley. Nice. See, you're always swifter than I am about these things. Good job, man. That's why I need you here with me. You know. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we'll go to the next one, everyone. And hey, Scotty, what's up, sir? Good to see you, man. And the next one is Sal Velluto, and it is another Black Panther cover. Although this one I felt kind of sucked, but I wanted to, you know, still have another Velluto Black Panther cover. So why not? So here we go. Oh, sorry, everyone. Here we go.
Well, and they're definitely not the same action level, but
I mean, listen, you can kind of say he's not even there. And let me kind
he's at the top of the pile of gifts. That's a Black Panther.
Well, that's a Black Panther, but not the Black Panther. You know, and here, let me kind of like ruin it for you even more, Jason. So as you can see, he's on all the TV screens in the window of the store, right? So
that's an overlay.
So no, it's all on the board.
Oh.
But if you look at the TV screen that would be directly above the word monarch, okay, that artwork in there is all original.
Okay.
Every single other one of those TV screens are stats.
Sure.
Yeah. And you know, understandably, I mean, as an artist, I would have done the same exact thing, obviously, you know.
Yeah.
So the only, you know, real original art is the one TV screen plus, you know, the guy, the girl, and all those gifts that they're carrying, you know. Yeah. So
I mean, illustratively, the guy and the gal carrying the gifts, that's nice. I mean, It's not the superhero stuff that you want, but
yeah. Listen, it's cute,
yeah.
whatever. And I guess it's fun for anybody, maybe who anybody who is reading the title, they may still enjoy something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ruben, that's like a fifth wall cover. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Too much static. Exactly. I can't even tell their stats. Yes, sir, Paulie. They are all glued on, my friend. Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. No, they were cleanly placed on. So, yeah, that's it. There you go. All right. So, from there, we will stick with one final Sal Velluto piece, but this one looks more like Butch Guice because guess who inked it? Butch Guice. So a comic that I'd never read before called Resurrection Man. Yeah. And I always love the cover because I love Deadman and I love the Phantom Stranger as characters, visually as characters. That's really why I wanted to buy it and keep it for inventory. I knew nothing about Resurrection Man, as I said, but I love Butch Guice, and his inking overpowered Velluto's pencils.
Velluto's pencils, yeah.
Yeah, it looks more like a Guice, a pure Guice cover, anyways.
At first, I thought that was Jonah Hex in the middle.
With long white hair.
Well, just the hat and the sort of the way his face is. It's not the Jonah Hex distortion, but at first look, I thought that was. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, and like Rick says, nice Deadman. Yeah, I like the Deadman, and like I said, and the Phantom Stranger, both very, very neat, really, really cool. And but Ruben, this cover is dead on arrival. Oh, that's so funny. And Resurrection Man was a fun book. Okay, TJ. Well, I'm glad I appreciate that. In all seriousness, I appreciate that you mentioning that. It's cool to get feedback like that for, when we talk about titles that we.
Yeah, I have no recollection of it.
Right. We admit we've either never read or never even remember ever seeing or hearing about,
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. And of course, this is in the collection of our very own Cesar Alvarez, who is not in the live chat tonight, unless he is there, but watching football and just listening, as he often does. And so there we go. So very fun piece. And from there, we now jump away to a different artist by the name of Lee Weeks.
Oh, I like Lee's work.
I love Lee's work.
Yeah.
And this is an earlier piece. This is very early in his career, actually, where it's still a cross, where it's like, coming from the Kubert school, he still had that very Joe Kubert influenced style, but some of his own approach was beginning to stick, come out of it. So it's kind of like a cross between the two.
Mm-hmm.
What I really love about it is that it's from a cool comic that we all, well, not all, but a lot of us remember fondly, with a great character this time on the front and a great villain in the back, none other than.
Oh, yeah. Cool. So cool.
Yeah, that's like, come on, that's cool.
Yep.
Man. That's like, wow, full-figured. Snake eyes.
Yep.
Right. All his bros behind him posing,
yeah.
Which is really cool. And of course, the awesome, I know it's an old trope, but I've always loved the old trope of the giant figure, either head or bust of the villain looming overhead.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That mid-ground of all the characters, like you said, that's very sort of war comic. You can see the Kubert influence.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This one, yeah, much more so the Kubert style, right? Coming out. And I think this was 90 or 91, for those of you curious. But yeah, definitely one of his early pieces for sure. And Marcus is telling us Weeks was kind of high priced compared to others back then. He was. That is true. That is true. It's funny, Marcus, because you mentioned that in a previous show, in a previous episode. And I said that I agreed, but it was funny that how his market went, that he started off kind of high in the early days, But then at a certain point, I felt he was cheap, or at least very fairly priced. And then suddenly overnight became really expensive all over again. Yeah. So it's kind of ran the gamut, you know? And Karen, the G.I. Joe fan, after 20 minutes of talking about this, finally speaks up and tells us that it's an awesome cover. And we're glad you like it, Karen. So yeah, very, very cool. And
yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, that was fun to show. I liked having it. And okay, so after Lee Weeks, I only got one Lee Weeks that I ever made a photocopy of. So we are now going to go to, I believe, who is it? Dave Wenzel? I think it's David Wenzel. Let's see. Mighty World of Marvel 255, the British comic. Yes, David Wenzel or Ron Wilson. People online have credited to Wilson. All I can tell you is that Ron Wilson's name is not on this, was never on the board in any way, shape, or form, but the name David was on it. Not Wenzel, but David. And David Wenzel did do work for Marvel UK back then. So that's why I put Wenzel's name first before Ron Wilson. Yeah.
Would Wilson have just done some roughs and then Wenzel finished it?
That's a good question. I don't know. I know that Wenzel penciled pieces for Marvel UK. So, you know, would he have just come in just to ink someone else? I mean, it could be.
Yeah.
Right? But it's one of those things where it's not clear that it's Wilson.
No.
It could be, but you know, if you see other Wenzel pieces at the time, you know, you'd look at it and you'd be like, well, it could certainly be him too, you know. Neither of them had styles that really were. Again, this is what I've mentioned. This you'll remember this, Jason, in past episodes where I say, you know, Ron Wilson was one of those guys where I said was one of those guys that I considered to have generic styles. You know, where it's like if you didn't already know that, oh, this issue of this title already, you know that was a Ron Wilson cover or issue. You typically wouldn't know, you know. Yeah. So that's the thing. But Ruben, I don't want the Hulk with a British accent. But Marcus, you can't hear him speak, so you don't hear it. CJ says, looks like Ron Wilson, Romita-ish. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I agree with you, you know, with that too. Exactly. Because he was like a protege of Romita. I get that. And that's why, again, but it says David. There's like a little note to David on it. So that's why, you know, I can't absolutely say that it was Ron Wilson, you know. And but Ruben, it has Pence on it. Not Mike Pence. Oh, but speaking of Mike, look who stepped in. I discovered weeks with his Hulk covers. Wow, great stuff. What's up, Mike? You got some interesting rewinding to do for the first 35 minutes of this show. I suggest you tune in and watch it all. Thank you very much. Not that I would appreciate it, but I think you'll appreciate it. So, no. His Hulk covers were fantastic. And by the way, I should mention, it's great that Mike mentions that, because when I mentioned that there was that moment where Lee suddenly overnight skyrocketed his prices again, that's when that happened. It was during his Hulk run, run. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So there we go. So, oops. Yeah. So get that off. Let me see what other people are saying. Twilight Zone had Nightmare at 20,000 feet. Good one, Rick. I say, my good chap, I must smash. That would be awesome. Could you imagine if there was
prim and proper Hulk,
a British proper Hulk? That would be so good. Oh my gosh. Hey, Mickey, what's up? I have a Wenzel Marvel UK cover. And the UK artists were asked to do their art in the style of the interior art. That's true, too.
That's interesting.
True. Yeah, well said, Mickey. Thank you for pointing that out. And what's up, Jeff?
Hey, Jeff.
Make greetings to you, my friend. Excellent. By the way, a fun cover, and FYI, those covers back when I sold that, those covers used to regularly sell anywhere from $275 to $400. $400 like being like you had to have like the Spider-Man covers with the great villain, you know.
Yeah.
Otherwise often $275, $300, and yeah, because they were Marvel UK.
They're British.
Right?
Yeah, they're British.
Whatever, yeah, whatever. But okay, sticking with W's, everybody, let us hit the next artist. And that is an artist who had a short, brief period of time in the industry, getting chances to pencil because he was primarily an inker his entire career and a well-known one. Let's check this out.
Wiacek, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Number 6 cover from the 1980 series. One of the rare pieces that we will show tonight that I know who the owner is, and it's owned currently by Gene P. That's how he goes on cap, so I'm not going to say his last name, although I'm sure he wouldn't mind, but still. Gene P, there you go.
The Man Thing is so lost in the published cover.
In the cover, exactly. Like what's that?
There's so much rendering and detail, in his arm and then into his face, and that's all gone.
Yeah, and Wiacek used the old razor blade technique on the arm.
Oh, really? Is that?
Yeah, that's all. Like that's a bunch of. It's full of scratching with the razor blade.
Huh.
The corner of a razor blade.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. So, it's pretty sad. And then the purple for the the shadow.
Right.
I get what they're doing. They're trying to shadow the first two guys.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, God, it looks horrid. and then bright orange in the background.
In the background, yeah.
It's just, wow. Yeah. And I get that they were limited with the color palette and all that.
Yeah, it's of the era.
It's of the era, whatever, Jeff speaks up again. Man Thing pledges this semester. Fraternity rights. Good one. I like that. And yeah, exactly, Marcus. Yeah, well said. All the movement in the Man Things and smashing through the back window is absolutely gone. Exactly.
Right.
I mean,
they kind of redid the glass too for the cover.
Yeah, that's right. They added a little bit of glass there, I guess, because I guess they figured, it's gonna get dark with the color.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna take away the movement. Maybe we'll put a bit more glass there. Maybe that'll sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Yellow Sky would have been better. Man, a lot of things would have been better, Rick. But an interesting thing here, everybody, that I'm going to show. So you all remember, I don't know if it was last episode or the one before, I showed some pieces. It must have been the last one, because did we have Pollard in the last one? It was either one of the last 2 episodes. That I had gotten some unpublished penciled covers.
Right.
And I made the decision to get them inked.
Right. Yep.
So when I said, there's probably a couple of more that I did back in the old days. So tonight we get to see, I think, 1 or 2 more of those. At least one. And that's this one coming up. And it happens to be the unpublished cover to the Man Thing issue we just saw.
Oh, really?
Yep. So look at this one more time real quick to remember how it looks, both, published with color and without. And then see this to compare the unpublished pencils, which frankly are hideous. And the inking by, once again, the man who I got to ink it, Bob McLeod. Here we go. What do you think of that, Jason?
I mean, you can tell that the final cover of Wiacek's looks pretty close to his rough.
Oh yeah, I mean he's sticking with the layout for sure.
Yeah.
Right, he's sticking with the layout.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, but like, wow, like in the penciled versions, I mean, those are some really amateurish looking head structures for all the characters.
Yeah, especially the guy in the left foreground.
Yeah, exactly. And then the woman behind them, like, what the hell is that? Like, and again, that's the reason why most inkers who remained inkers for most of their careers, that's why they typically didn't get penciling jobs. They just weren't strong enough pencilers, you know?
Yeah, I mean, McLeod saves all of the foreground figures for sure.
Yeah. And listen, I still say the foreground heads, particularly the driver, I still feel like even that the head structure is not the greatest. But there's only so much you can do when you still have to, you're still following, the outline, if you will, right? You're following the basis of the pencils that you've been given, So there's only so much you can improve without, Vinnie Coletta-ing the image and completely erasing it, right? So yeah, so that's what I like. But overall, the rendering by McLeod, I love the rendering; it's beautiful. Rick says that the McLeod cleaned it up nicely, and I admit. Jeff says Thomas Magnum, bottom left.
Yeah, McLeod gives more character to the hand. The Man-Thing hand.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, and we'll have light the shadow on the faces. Yep. Yeah. Again, different approach, and I bet you if you get Bob to ink it today, it would look different as well. The placing of blacks and this and that. So let me move this for a second.
That would be kind of interesting if you gave that to McLeod today and you said, I don't know who did this, but I wonder if you could re-ink it.
Right.
Would he recognize it as his older work, or would he just re-ink it and then you could compare his older work with his current stuff?
Just show him Wiacek's on the uninked pencils?
No, show him his inked version.
Just
show it to, like, somehow.
Oh, he's gonna recognize it for sure.
You think he would?
Oh no, guaranteed he will recognize it. Oh yeah. I mean, that's still how he inks today. So yeah, it looks exactly like it's still, like I said, the only thing that would change is, he might sort of do the lighting differently, which means the blacks would go in different places or whatever, There's different ways you can do that, but the rendering, how he still, how the look of the ink comes off the brush, of course he's going to recognize it as his own instantaneously. Listen, if a fan can instantly recognize his work, yeah, he's going to for sure, see it. So in case he leaves, I got to just put this up again. Scotty Wingo. So evening, Scott. I hope you're still there, listening, watching, listening. I just wanted to ask you if you are. So last week, I welcomed my newest subscribers to the channel. And one of them, I don't know, because I don't think you were here. And one of them was named scotwingohome. Okay, so one word, scotwingohome. So I assumed it was you getting yourself a new Gmail account, which means you get a new YouTube account, and it's Scott Wingo Home, which didn't mean anything to me. But again, most people's fake names don't mean anything anyways, right? And so I thought it was you, but then Marcus made a comment about how it might just be somebody named Scott Win. And then it's supposed to be Scott Win. Go home. Right? So please, if you're there, please let me know if that was you or not. I would appreciate it. It's just kind of weird because if it's not you, that's just a crazy coincidence to have somebody different have a name that looks like it belongs to you. Yeah, so there you go. I hope you're there. There we go. And extra lady hand 2. And Scott is on CAF board of directors. There's a board of directors on CAF? Like what? Like What? Like it's a public corporation all of a sudden? I don't know what that means, but okay, if you say so. I have no idea what that means. But if there is, and he is, I don't know. Congratulations, I guess. I mean, Scott's a great businessman, so if anybody can get CAF to finally start turning a profit, it would be him. Hey, listen, it doesn't take much. Convert. That's all you got to do. Convert. You got 1 trillion free people abusing the site and like 1,000 paid people. Convert X percentage of the freebies to paid people, and the thing's going to become magically profitable. So there you go, Scott. I just gave you the outline. That's all you need to do. Get to it. And there you go. So I'm sure he knows how to do it. So yeah, good luck, whatever that entails. So can't do it himself anymore. Well, he hasn't been doing it himself for a long time though, TJ. He's got his whole family working in for the last, 3 or 2 years. But yeah, when you're starting trying to do a convention and all that stuff, that takes more time. So obviously, if he's getting more help, especially from somebody like Scott, that's great. Absolutely. Yes, Scott is what? Great at building businesses and stuff. I think that's what you mean. Yes. Listen, it can only help. It definitely cannot hurt. That's for sure. So yeah, man. Good for you, I guess, Scott, and congratulations. I assume. I'm not up on things, so yeah, there you go. I hope it works out, whatever it is that you're hired to do. Caesar, what's up? What's up? Good evening to you. What did you miss? Just about 53 minutes worth of chatting and art showing. That's all. We showed another piece of yours, Resurrection Man by Sal Velluto and Butch Guice. So yeah, there you go. Is that what's keeping him busy? that shit takes time. It does. I can tell you that takes time for sure. So yeah. All right. Everyone, let us get on with the show. And okay. So listen, guys. Here we're sticking with Bob Wiacek, and I just gotta say, this is one of those pieces where, again, you've heard me say this already on past episodes. I'm not one who typically jumps. I don't typically jump on like the big name artists, whatever. I love really cool pieces of cool characters by like the smaller name artists, just as much as the bigger name artists. This is one of those. And this is a cool character who I loved ever since he made his first appearance in, I want to say, 1986 or 7 in a Spidey annual. And this is just such a killer image of him. And I wish I still had this. I wish I could get this back. It's so fun. Let me know if what you ever thought about this character, or if you even kind of read him or not.
Oh, Iron Man 2020. I didn't read him when he first came out, but yeah, it was an interesting take. They relaunched it like a couple of years ago, and I wasn't into it then. But
really, okay.
But the image there is great. I mean, for a big hero across the 2-page spread, that's great.
Yeah. And as a point of interest, I do want to mention that for the credits to the artwork, because it's, I didn't want to have to fill up the entire, left portion of the slide with too much writing. So the layouts from this issue, it was like a double-sized, one of these double or triple-sized issues, one-shots. And the layouts were Bob Wiacek. William Rosado is actually the penciler. So he goes in over top of the Wiacek layouts and tightens up the pencils. But then Wiacek was also the inker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he laid out and inked while Rosado did the in-between tightening up of the pencils. And by my friend Gary Sella, who I'm not sure if I sold it to him. But yeah, I have a feeling I did. I think he's owned it for a long time, so it's cool. It's cool to know that somebody that I know that owns it. So, yeah, really, really cool. And but Ruben, 2020 was so far away in the future. The Blackbird helps. Well, it helps balance out. I feel it adds a nice little bit of compositional balance. It's kind of cool. It wouldn't need to be there because of the diagonal layout going from bottom left to top right. I think it's balanced already. So whether the Blackbird's there or not, I don't think that it helps sell it. I think if this sells to anybody, it's going to be because of the wicked ass image of Iron Man 2020.
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh! Look at this! Look at what we are being told. That new subscriber is not me, but I do enjoy the name. What? Wow!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! That's crazy. And I know he had no reason. He has no reason to lie. Mike has no reason to lie. So thanks for clearing that up, Mike. How crazy of a coincidence is that, though? That's nutty. So we get two coincidences in one show. Perhaps we still need to find out about Scot Wingo, who came in to say hello and then left. You got to find out. Wow. But yeah, that's wow. Let me see here. Let me bring this down. I'll show this color one more time, the black and white one more time, and then
it's a great image.
A fantastic image.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely phenomenal image.
I'm happy to own it.
Marcus says you got to get on him constantly. A preview of the.
They're having a conversation.
Would have got Cox's attention. They're having their own conversation.
Yeah, Marcus and Scot.
Okay. Good. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, sure.
It's good there, so I don't have to waste time looking at that. Okay, excellent. So yeah, I really love that. I can't believe there was like nobody likes Iron Man, even if you don't care about 2020. If you're
if you're an Iron Man fan, I would still want that, even though it's Iron Man 2020. I would still want that.
That is so absolutely wicked, Caesar says, never read the title. Me too, but I only ever read the Spidey annual. Okay, what was it? Spider-Man annual 18 or 17 or something like that. I read the first appearance, right? That one, the Spidey annual. I read that. And other than that, didn't he make I'm picturing him being drawn by Barry Windsor Smith. Where did he appear? Didn't he? Oh, the Machine Man miniseries.
Is that where he first appeared?
No. He appeared in his first appearance was the Amazing Spider-Man annual.
Oh.
But then in the Machine Man miniseries, I believe he appeared again. Yeah. But anyways, number title was Iron Man 2020, not Tony Stark. That was exactly Arno, I believe. It was Arno Stark. Who was Arno? Was his father or?
I don't remember the genealogy of how that character came to be.
Yeah, but Arno, I believe it was Arno. But yeah, it was definitely not Tony Stark.
Yeah.
That's correct. Even though here we are in 2023 and it's still Tony Stark. I think. I don't read Iron Man comics, so I don't know. We will let you know when we need you for something. Thank you. Don't let me and Jason interrupt your conversation.
Right?
Yes, please have at it. Keep going. All right, everybody. Let us continue with the show, and it is one final Bob Wiacek piece, and it is related to this character. A series that I never read, but it's a very cool cover because it's typically what you expect from Captain America. Yet it's War Machine, number 16 cover.
That's a great image.
Who owns it now? Yeah. Very patriotic, right?
Yeah.
And it's a very rare Bob Wiacek cover. I mean, penciled and inked, and not only that, but I believe this is like, I want to say mid-90s. So
it has that feel. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like literally, I want to say something like between 13 and 15 years after what was probably his last shot, his previous shot at penciling, you know? So it's so crazy to see almost like a decade and a half later that he was able to get more penciling work. Penciling anything.
You know? That's really a cool image.
The Wiacek is in the mail. I like that. Force Works, remember that. Hey, Karen, super cool. It is super cool. Karen, do you like the overall image, or do you think the super coolness factor for you personally comes from the American patriotism aspect of it all? And actually, all of you can kind of tell me that, because I know a lot of collectors, sort of love to see that with Captain America, but it usually tends to be sort of kept to him most of the time. And I wonder if other collectors like to get sort of patriotic covers if it's not from Captain America.
I mean, that's the one thing where the published cover, because you have the color of the flag, it kind of makes that pop for sure, more so than the ink. But the composition of the original page is really well done. The background being white in the top left, going down to black, but the character is darker at the top and kind of is white in the legs, and then over to the flag. So it's really stands out. It's really a striking piece.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And we have received our answer from Karen. It's official, everyone. It's all in the cape, and apparently she doesn't give two flying craps about Iron Man or War Machine. She just loves America and being American. And I can attest that to that being the case, because I recently told her through email that Canada is the best country in the world. And I said some other things about Canada, and she said, oh, well, that's all true, except for that last part about Canada being the best country in the world. That's definitely the United States. So I can tell you that, confirm that she is a true patriot. So nobody has to get on her. If you think that she may if you had any suspicion she may be an anti-patriot, I can confirm this is confirmation she is not. She is indeed all about the flag. So there you go. The overall design is badass, says Rick, and I do agree. Number one Marvel fan says the Liefeld shoulder pads is so cool.
I imagine it didn't take you long to sell this one.
Sorry, can you repeat that question, please, Jason?
I said I imagine it didn't take you long to sell this one.
Yeah, I don't remember how long, but no, I typically would remember it a lot more if it did take long.
Yeah.
Right? Because it eats away at me,
Right.
And so I would remember, and so I don't like associate that image with that bad memory of like, why isn't anybody taking this? I don't know,
Right.
So yeah, so it would have sold, pretty quickly,
Right.
So yeah, so that was very, very, very cool. Really enjoyed having that, and listen. You can listen. The vast majority of you are born and bred Americans. So if you think I would ever say anything against America, you're crazy. That's the end of my channel, and that's the end of my friendships as well, right? So there you go. That's not. To be clear, that's not why I would not say anything bad against America. I've always loved America.
We still appreciate that you send your players to come play hockey for us, though.
Yeah, thank you.
We definitely appreciate that.
I know. Thank you. Well, you're welcome. And I love the Canadian maple syrup mafia up there. I appreciate that too. Tim Hortons, Molson, and Shorzy. I don't even know what Shorzy is. Long live Canada. I appreciate that, though. Thank you for some little support. The little support that I got from the few Americans out there. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Brought to you by Poonteen.
Okay. Next in the show and tell for this evening, we jump artists to a guy we've spoken of in previous episodes of show and tell. and a really weird piece. It's cool, and I love this guy's work, but I believe this is super early in his career, and somebody else can maybe verify that for me. And his Wolverine looks really weird because of it, I think. So let's check that out. So yeah, Wolverine 95, that's what it was called. I don't know if it was like one of these one-shots called Wolverine 95, or if that's just what they were calling, and this is at that time where they were calling the annuals.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Okay, Wolverine 95. So that was the 1995 Wolverine annual?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Boy, I would not have known, not that I'm that experienced with J.H. Williams, but I would not have known that this is him.
Right. Yeah. Well, no, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, he usually, most of what we recognize from him, it's that beautiful, intricate,
right?
It's the designy
super
stuff,
tight pencils and
the Art Deco inspired stuff.
Yeah.
With his usual Mick Gray inking partner, right? Yeah. So that's why I'm thinking this is probably really early in his career. Yeah. So, but yeah, very cool. Funny. No Stanley Cup for Canada. It's a good thing I'm not a big hockey fan. Not sure how I feel about Ruben not knowing Letterkenny. Oh, thanks, TJ. Yeah, so, that's not a show that I've ever watched. I could say that.
You've got the published up on the screen. Do you have the pencils?
I'm sorry about that. Yes. Schlicht. So very sorry. Here we go, everybody.
There we go.
Look at that. So much better.
Yeah.
So much better.
It really makes the Ngari look better, but
yeah. Gorgeous. I mean, beautifully spotted blacks, superbly balanced. The lighting technique is just absolutely stunning.
Yeah, the upshot lighting on the first panel was pretty cool.
Yeah. The whole thing's gorgeous. Like I said, the only thing that bothered me, even at the time when I got it, I was just like, I don't know. There's something about, his face, the Wolvie face is just like, I don't know. It just bugs me. But I wasn't going to let that bother me, stop me from buying it,
Right.
It's still, anytime you get splashes or double page splashes of Wolverine
doing
his thing, right? Like,
yep.
That's,
Plus,
thing you don't pass up on.
Looking back now, it just looks very 90s.
Yeah. And it's right in the smack dab in the middle of it all, right? So,
yep.
So that's it's very of its era, let's say.
That's cool.
Yeah. Okay, so from there we are once again changing artist, everybody, and we're gonna change to an artist for whom at the time that I was in the mood to make photocopies of my inventory, or some of my inventory, I guess happened to have a lot of inventory from this next guy. So we're going to see quite a few pieces from him, but it's cool because he was always a very good and solid artist. We may have seen a piece earlier in the show by him already, not sure, but we definitely will start a string of great pieces by him right now. And for that, some late comments on the Wolvie. Wolvie is a little Leno-ish. The giant
jaw.
Jaw gap. Hello, Michael, my friend, the esteemed Maki Poo-Poo. Good to see you, sir. As always, thank you for dropping in. Yes, so here we go. First piece, everyone. Check this out. Well, before I even say it, I'll let you, because I know you're going to ask, Jason, so I'll let you say what you got to say, and then I'm going to answer your question. So, the cover to Captain America number 176 by Ron Wilson and John Romita.
I would guess that Romita touched up the main character, the front character, well, Captain America's face.
Yes. So here's the story as I got it. And of course, this is third hand. So I acquired this directly from the gentleman who, when he was a child, was given this to him by Ron Wilson at a comic convention.
Wow. That would be, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Why the heck would you part with that? That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, again, this would have been late 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So something like this, even if it had been inked, something like this for Ron Wilson to have on his table, if he was crazy or delusional, would have had a $50 price tag on it.
Yeah.
Wow. More than likely, probably had it for anywhere from $10 to $25.
Crazy.
Yeah. And so, you know, there's no established, remember, keeping in mind that there was no established art market at the time for this stuff. You have to think of the context that this would have been in. He would have been at a con. He had a few pieces of art with him, sure. 99.9% of people that come to him ask him for autographs on top of comic books.
Mm-hmm.
99% of con goers do not buy original art. And in those days, there were a lot more little kids than there have been in the last 40 years since then, right? And so, you know, it was kind of nice to see kids, occasionally younger kids, you know. And as I recall, the guy that sold this to me, he was a child under the age of 10 at the time. You know, so pretty young.
Yeah, very young.
So that was the kind of thing where I guess, you know, you're like, yeah, you know, you're having a nice conversation with the kid. I remember he told me Ron was really nice to him. He chatted him up and stuff. And it's one of those things where he has a nice conversation with a little kid who really, really loves his work. And so I absolutely could see him saying, you know, right as he has to leave, here you go, kid. Here, why don't you take here? Why don't you take a couple of drawings? Here,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, whoa, Karen's back. Wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
But Ruben, he's not wearing the costume. I guess I got two little anecdotes about this cover, everyone. Falcon kicked Vision to the curb.
Yep. He got booted from the original.
Yeah. And the kid rolled a 7 and won this. Yeah. So there's two stories. So the first story is that the kid's remembrances of this were that he gave it to him, but before he gave it to him, he spoke to him about it, and he was told by Ron that Ron said to him that John, when he penciled it, and that he was working under John Romita, and that when he handed it in to John to review, he claimed to the kid that Romita heavily reworked it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was his words, that he heavily reworked it. So, you know, I see it more on Captain or, you know, Steve Rogers, right?
I think Steve Rogers for sure. Maybe Iron Man.
But did he heavily work? You know, that's just an adjective, right? So what does that really mean, right? Who knows? It's hard to say how much, you know, you'll never really know how much was penciled in by Romita.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a fun little, you know, thing. And I, you know, I still sold it as Romita, you know, with some, you know, Ron Wilson. I sold it as Ron Wilson. And I mentioned the anecdote in my description, you know, that the previous owner was told that Romita had supposedly heavily reworked it, though it looks still more like Wilson anyways, you know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the reason that it's, you know, these are the published pencils. The reason it's not inked is because this was from back in the day when a lot of you know Romita was inking on vellum. He preferred the feel of the inks on vellum. So the inked published version is out there somewhere. Or maybe destroyed, who knows, right?
Yeah.
Cap was not liking the USA. Apparently he was not. Seriously, how many times has Steve renounced the Cap identity? Oh, I don't know, about as many times as every Marvel character has died in comics. I guess. Maybe Wilson hated the changes and wanted to get rid of it. Come on, Marcus. No way. Are you kidding? He revered Romita. He revered him. So yeah, there's no way that's true.
Maybe I should try that trick at the next convention. I get a 8-year-old and I just start sending them to tables and just really talk up the artist and see what you can get from them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Except in this day and age at conventions, a lucky little kid might be one who is told, "All right, kid, listen, for you."
A little sketch.
Are you crazy? Come on, Jason. Hey, kid, for you, instead of $20 for my signature, how about I charge you $5? Yeah. So whatever. Who knows? Who knows? But okay, everybody, let's go look at the next in the series of Ron Wilson pieces. I love this one. Really, really, I love the villain here. So that's why I really, really love this one. Check this out, man.
Oh, yeah.
How's that?
That's great.
Killer, outer space, right? Kirby Crackle.
Kirby Crackle everywhere.
A nihilist with awesome Joe Sinnott inks. Like, wow.
A nihilist makes a great visual villain for sure.
Yeah. No, he's just absolutely fantastic. And of course, it's still from the 70s. So you get that whole blurb at the top, side by side with a nihilist in large letters. I love that, you know?
Yeah, it's great.
So much fun.
That's really a cool cover or front page.
Yeah. Excellent splash. And I can't say enough about the inks from that era, especially Joe Sinnott. Anybody he inked back then was just so refined. It's just beautiful. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff. I was wondering what you would say to this one, Marcus. But
he doesn't have his 4. He's got to have his 4 on his chest.
Yeah. No, to be more precise, it was more like, yeah, but Ruben, come on. Like, he's not even wearing his outfit. You know? He's not wearing his costume. You know, you got to knock off like 50% because of that. Oh, man, so funny. So, I once seen Robert Liefeld charge a kid $20 for a cig. Kid got upset. Was strange to see about 8 years ago. Wow.
Rude.
Brutal. No, nothing. I'm not even going to follow that up, man. But thanks for sharing, number one Marvel fan. Appreciate it. Yes, sir, CJ. Absolutely cool splash. This is the top tier splash now. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Oh, of course, times have changed. I mean, if this hit the market now, it would still sell for a ton of money because a lot of people would be bidding on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. So this is a beautiful segue, everyone, to do another couple of comments. The kid flipped it for $49. He won in the end. There you go. To this next piece, because this next piece, of course, also Ron Wilson. But this one is a cover. And the cover is related to the title we just saw. So fun. From the same era and almost the same issue, from an issue nearby, we get this.
Oh, wow.
A Fantastic Four number 182 cover by Ron Wilson. And again, the spectacular Joe Sinnott. Once again, current owner unknown. But it's got all 4 of them, so that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I love the fact that they're like the 3, everybody except for Stu, they're stuck in the negative zone.
So who would have changed the face on that? Would have that been Ron going back?
That's hard to say. You know,
I like the original.
Yeah. It looks more alienish.
Yeah.
Hard to say, but it could be Romita, right? Or they could have just asked Ron himself to do it. You know, it at any given time in this business, right? Because of the fact that deadlines are a priority, it can often be anybody with artistic talent who's currently in the bullpen.
Sure.
When the artwork comes in, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it really can be anybody at any given time, truthfully.
I agree with CJ. I think Ron Wilson does a nice job with Thing and his rocky structure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When I've talked about that in the past, that there's that there's, for some reason, only like a small percentage of artists who I feel draw the thing quote unquote correctly. You know, Ron Wilson was one of them. You know, Kirby, Wilson, and of course the Sinnott inks helps.
Yeah, the Sinnott inks definitely help.
In the modern era, more modern era, John Byrne.
Yep.
Tom Grummett, and I'm not just saying that for obvious reasons. Yeah, but a few guys, yeah, a lot of guys I don't like how they do it, you know. But Ruben, are they real or are they on Rewind? Yes. Believe it or not, a lot of people would say something like that. They would be like, yeah, the whole team's there, but like 3 of them are not really like in the room. They're like on a screen. You know, they're on a video screen in a room. Yeah, people would actually try to sell me on that shit so they could, you know, devalue the piece. Unreal, you know. Oh, hey, Karen. I don't know. Your comments are coming in so late tonight. I don't know if they're being written late or if the chat comments are coming in late, but it actually feels like a lot of your comments are coming in late. But Gloop is saving Sue.
Gloop and Gleep from the Herculoids.
I don't know if he's saving her or trying to bash her, but love Ron's thing. Yep, I've got a lot of his newer stuff. Price is cheap enough to find. Yeah, FYI, #1 Marvel fan. You know I always keep it 100, as the young kids say. And I do want to say that I unfortunately feel that Ron's one of those artists where age has affected his abilities, and I feel anything from the last 20 some odd years, I personally do not like it, and I believe that is the main reason why it does sell for very cheap. But you know, if you still like it and you like the way it looks, then yeah, it's super affordable nowadays, you know. I know. Thank you, Karen. That's fine. I'm aware that if it is coming in truthfully late, that I know what reason it would be for you. So you don't have to mention it, but I appreciate it though. Thank you. Right. Was no one in Rob's line? The kid had a crappy comment, just asked if he would sign. Rob said $20 and the kid walked away upset. Wasn't like today with long lines. Okay. Clearing it up. Thank you. But Ruben, the original has pimples on his head. That's right. The original alien has pimples on his head. That's so funny. Actually, CJ, he is one of those. And by the way, like one of my all-time favorites. I would say if we go from the beginning of the Marvel era, right? The Marvel Universe's inception, let's say up until 1980. So let's say the first 20 years. So out of all the artists who worked for them then, Buscema is my #1 guy. And again, so because I've admitted that, I'm going to keep it 100 and tell you that he is not one of the guys who I think did a good thing. More often than not, I did not like how Big John drew the thing. So yeah, just my feeling. Oh, sorry. There we go. Today the kid grew up to be Tradmore. Yeah, he doesn't need that signature from Rob anymore. But oops, sorry everybody.
Those are two cool pieces.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. From those 2 cool pieces, and again, we're talking about the thing, so this segues really nicely. Here's another cool piece. It's more modern, but not by that many years. It feels like it is, but it really is probably only modern by another, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. But boy, it's another piece that I really wish I still had at the. I remember selling this next piece, everyone, to Will Gabriel. Just a nice little fun fact. But yeah, this is. You'll see why I love this. Check it out. So Marvel 2-in-1, number 100, the final issue before they relaunched the title as The Thing #1. And Ron Wilson, this time with Frank Giacoia on inks, who I thought did a great job on this. And me personally, Jason, I don't know about you, how you feel about Kirby FF in particular. If you have an opinion, and if you do have an opinion, do you have an opinion on Kirby's first sort of, 30 to 40 issues and how he drew back then versus how his stuff evolved after, around issue 40 ish, when Sinnott, took over and refined his style. I love that later stuff after he refined it. I love that better. I think it's better art, but I still have a fondness for how he drew the oatmeal, or how they call the oatmeal thing. Right? Like a lot
I mean, there's a nostalgia quality because that's how it started, but I definitely liked it once they decided to make him the rockier kind of thing.
Yeah. But I just thought that's what made this thing so cool. To me, it was oh, wow. It's like the modern day Thing fighting like the Thing from Fantastic Four #1 or whatever, right?
Putting to rest the question, which one is the better version?
Clobbering time. It certainly is. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm always a sucker too for like pages, like especially covers and splashes of like the character versus character. Like I've shown that Conan versus Conan cover that I had, right?
Right.
And so Thing versus Thing, and I don't know. There's something cool about the same character with like fighting a different version, or a clone of himself, or their first self, Giacoia was very solid, CJ.
A tiny detail, but it's interesting that how Ron Wilson made the floor kind of like the Thing's skin that he's standing on.
Yes. Yeah, good point. But Ruben, the bigger thing is the blobby one. Yeah, but potential buyer, that means that the modern cooler Thing is the one who's winning the fight.
Right.
But Ruben, the cooler modern Thing is so small.
Yeah, for sure.
Now you don't have to type it, Marcus. Yeah, Eagle 17-3. Yeah, thanks for nothing, CJ. Sorry, any Philly fans watching right now, but it is what it is. But yeah, very, very cool. Again, very surprised. I thought more people would like that piece than not.
No, I think that's great.
But I think that's a really great piece. But okay, everybody, we're doing really well, making great time. Since we are making great time, let me just quickly give Nicky B his promo, even though he's not here yet, to savor it all up. Let me put this up. So there you go, everybody, especially for those of you watching on Rewind. And if you do not know who Nick B is, that is him right there on the left. And his full name is Nick Barucci. He is the publisher of Dynamite Comics and Dynamite Entertainment. And Nick has a channel called The Original. Well, here, let me actually, why don't I do this? This will make it easier. Put this up on top. So he's got a channel called The Original Art Experience, right? At youtube.com, right where we are right now. So it's youtube.com/VEXP. And he's got a ton of different shows. They are all comic book related shows, as you would expect from a comic book publisher. But he does have one show per week, which is focused specifically on original art, and that is The Original Art Experience. And as a matter of fact, as you can see there, the show airs every single Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. And not only that, but here, this week, I'm putting this into the chat. Okay, I'm putting a link, everybody. So for those of you who are watching and don't know and are not familiar with Nick's show, putting a direct link to this coming Friday show. You might want to bookmark that or subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell because Nick B was recently at New York Comic Con. He just came back and did his first show since coming back a couple of days ago. And this coming Friday, he is going to be celebrating the Halloween holiday with multiple pages, very affordable pages, which he usually has anyways. But he has told me that he will have many pages that are below $100 a piece. So that's always really fun. People always love getting cheap art. And in this day and age, it is not that common to get art that cheap at 100 or below. So please check that show out. And that is literally the link directly to this Friday's episode, not the homepage. So please check that out if you can. All right. Okay, so with that being said, let me do this. There we go. And why don't we get back into the show and tell, everyone? Ready to go, Jason?
Let's do it.
All right. So I can tell you we probably have a couple more, 2 or 3 more Ron Wilson pieces. And they're really cool. This next one is from the 70s again. I got to tell you, at the time, man, I had this one for a long time. And honestly, okay, let me show it to you, and then we'll talk about it, and then I'll give you my little story. Okay, tell me whatever you want if you have anything to say at all, and then we'll talk.
Oh, that's cool.
So this is Ron Wilson, and this time inked by Klaus Janson. I love the organic Klaus inks. I've always loved him. I loved that Powerman is not only front and center, but it's full figured, like everybody always wants, and it's huge.
He's huge.
It's really just huge, right?
Yeah.
I can feel Marcus's but Ruben coming, and you know what he's gonna say, and so do I. Okay, I got a couple of comments. Let me see if it's him. It's not what I expected. Ruben, that's racist. That is not what I expected, my friend. No, indeed, it is not. Chain. So, no. Look, the truth is, and CJ remembers this one well. With Gil Kane noses. That is true. Oh, one of them for sure. So yeah, look. For me, I will admit that I never thought that this was a character that anybody really had a reason to care about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he was created during the blaxploitation era. I would think for the purposes of blaxploitation. I don't think there's anything new and original or unique about him, right? He just is a strong character, right? That's his superpower. Oh, you're a strong guy.
Mm-hmm.
And yet very, very weak compared to all the other, better known strong Marvel characters like Hulk, Thing, Thor, whatever,
Right.
So to me, it was just, a product of its time. And I just, so I never, it's like, I don't hate him, but I also I never saw why anybody would want to, I got to collect some Luke Cage Powerman art or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I would make an exception and say differently for Powerman and Iron Fist art, because having read it, I always found it very much like a buddy cop movie.
Mm-hmm.
And, and it was more like Cage was the funny guy to Luke's straight man. Danny's straight man. So it was one guy serious, one guy cracking jokes. It was fun. It was fun. But I always felt that on its own, I don't know. I just don't see this. I never saw him as a very interesting character. So for that reason.
No, I mean, I think like Black Panther was a much more interesting character than Powerman, and Black Panther got his own title and whatnot in the 70s, but this was sort of didn't get any traction back in the day.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that with us, CJ. Romita was embarrassed but happy that he was successful. Well, there you go. He's being kicked out of the white gated community. Oh my God. Oh my God. Only you, Marcus. Only you. And that's what makes it racist. There we go. Okay. He had bulletproof and super strength. Well, but typically, CJ, when you know they have super strength, you know that it's strong enough that they're probably bulletproof. You assume they're bulletproof, right? That's how I always thought of super strong characters that way. I'm always assuming that any character who you can see, lifting like giant pillars that hold up buildings, throwing 18-wheelers and buses around like they're baseballs, right? Anybody who can do that level of strength or more, I always assumed they must be strong enough to be bulletproof as well.
Wouldn't that be great if he wasn't, though? Wouldn't that make it more interesting? You could just take him out with one bullet, even though he can lift a building.
Right. And listen, I have to admit that now that it's been mentioned and been brought up, maybe I've made the incorrect assumption all these decades. Maybe that's not the case. I mean, right? Maybe some of those characters that are super strong and have super strength, maybe some of them can't deflect a bullet at all. And
issue 1, I'm Superman. Issue 2, Lex Luthor. Bang. End of series.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but if you think about it, there are so many characters that have super strength, right?
Right.
I mean, what about people like, I don't know, Titania? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Titania. Yeah. Titania. I mean, she's been shown doing some pretty powerful acts.
Right.
I just can't imagine she wouldn't be bulletproof. But then again, yeah, I don't know. It's just hard to believe that you could have that kind of muscle and sinew,
right,
to accomplish those feats, and your muscle and your flesh wouldn't be that tough. Right. So that's my view. That's always been my view. I'm going to stick to that view, anyways. That's how I see it. Black Lightning had a better costume. He did have a cool costume, even though nowadays, when you think about it and you try to picture it in like happening in real life, with the open V, the whole chest open all the way down, it's kind of like, whoa. But it was the 70s, so I kind of get he had the John Travolta Saturday Night thing going, right?
Wide open, yeah.
Yeah, so I get that. Hey, Nikki B, there you are. Thank you, sir. Yes, I never, as usual, never remember to ask anybody to hit the like. Nikki B, you came a few minutes late to listen to your own promo, which I did beautifully, I may add. So, Jason, can you?
Yes, you definitely you did an awesome job. It was thorough. It was well done. Absolutely.
Thank you. And I did not forget to put in the direct link to the episode for next week as well. So
you had the plug on screen. You had the link in the chat. Yep.
Yeah.
You had it all.
Everything. Excellent. Good to see you, Nick. Never assume they are bulletproof. Wink, wink. Yeah, you are right though. Now that I think about it, now that you mention it, that could be true. Some of them may not be. Ever see that movie Unbreakable? I saw it when it came out, Marcus, but you know me, I don't have long-term memory for those kinds of things. Like I don't remember details. To be honest, all I remember about the movie is that the guy either worked at or owned a comic book art museum, and that was it. I don't remember.
That's the villain, Mr. Glass.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? I haven't seen it since, and I liked it, but I don't remember. I don't remember any details of movies. The bad part about it is that, well, it kind of sucks when people talk about things. I never know what they're talking about. The good part about having that terrible memory that way is I can always, when I do go back to rewatch it, it always kind of feels like I'm watching it for the first time. Because it only vaguely feels familiar as I'm watching it.
Memory, yeah.
Yeah. And most of the time, I don't know what's about to happen in the upcoming scene, Like I feel like I vaguely remember, but then I'm like, oh, I'm still surprised, So that's kind of fun. Batman should have been capped years ago. That's true. And he's been capped many times. Strong enough to crush a pistol in his hand, which then gets blown off. A good one. MG, mille grazie. Yeah, you're very welcome. Of course, you're awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. You can drown in Unbreakable. What do you mean? You can drown in Unbreakable.
Bruce Willis's character is like invincible, except like strong or whatever. But they try to drown him.
Oh, okay. First thing they do with an unbreakable body is try and drown. Okay, thanks, guys. Ironically, Ruben's been on 50 first dates, but never saw the movie. That's an awesome one, and you get the prize for the best one of the evening. I think that's a really good one. That is awesome. And even though I never saw the movie, I got to tell you, Mike, I remember really loving it. Yeah, I really loved Drew Barrymore. I mean, I loved her as a growing up a lot, and so when she was in her 20s and then into her 30s, I really liked her a lot. And Adam Sandler, I loved on SNL, so I followed his movie career when he left that show. So yeah, I did watch it, and then actually, and I really do. I did enjoy that movie. Well, he forgot each time. Exactly, that's it. I just keep forgetting that I've watched it. You reminded me now, so only for the moment, for the time being, I'm remembering that I saw it. Yeah. But by the time the show's over, I'll forgotten again. That's it. All right, everybody. Next piece. This one I love. Early 80s. My favorite cover to this day, my favorite cover from this run. It was after the run ended. To me, it was my favorite cover. And then it was a thrill to be able to own the original art one day, all decades later. And to this day, I still believe it's my favorite cover. And it's not one of the ones by John Byrne, which most people would be like, wow, what about the Byrne covers? Nope, this is still my favorite. Check it out.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Is that Wonder Man? Yeah, that's Wonder Man, right?
Yeah, man, that's a classic Wonder Man with the Hollywood red jacket.
Yeah.
Red shades,
Red shades, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's a bit heavily inked by Milgrom. Like She-Hulk's rendering looks way and Spidey looked too Milgromish for my taste.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is fantastic. I mean, I love the She-Hulk pose.
The pose is great, yeah.
Yeah, and Spidey swinging in is cool. I love the fact that Wonder Man is wrapping the lamppost around the thing. That's really inventive. Really cool. It's just fantastic, and you're fitting in all the characters, including the guests, with full figure, right?
Yeah, that's. And that's the complaint is Spider-Man's too small compared to the others.
well, you know what though? But it's the Thing's issue, so it's Thing's title, right?
Right.
Karen, great show tonight. Wish I could stay longer, but I need to get the kids to bed. Have a good night to you. Good night, Karen. See you soon.
Good night, Karen.
And wait a second. Kids to bed. Are you lying to me? Because this is pretty early for your kids to be going to bed. But okay, I believe you. Yeah, no, I mean, this is like, come on. Not only do you fit in the main character, centrally focused, full figure, but really gigantic.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And you still manage to put full figures and pretty large full figures for 2 of the 3 next characters.
Yeah, no, that's great. The trio across the front is fabulous.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, to me, yeah, again, nobody seems to be agreeing with me except for you and Rick, who thinks it's a killer. And Marcus, of course, acting like the old-timey original art collectors from back in the day, wants to let us know. But Ruben, they're having their way with Thing in bondage. I can honestly say, Marcus, that this was an easy sell. And so,
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank God for small favors. Finally, I get one that didn't have to be a pain in the ass and didn't sit around for very long at all. So, yeah. CJ says, very great cover. should read Yancey Street. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, in the Post. Yeah, instead of Madison Avenue.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. From one lady to another. Good night. Karen's already gone, honey. Okay, so excellent, excellent. One of my favorite pieces. And let us now go to the next piece. It's the final Ron Wilson piece. And we're going directly to it. It is an unpublished splash page for what we believe, because it's stamped that way, for What If, the original series. No idea what issue. It probably was like an inventory story, or maybe not. Maybe it could have been one of the issues that did eventually get published. No idea really who the inker is. But I mean, you know, it's kind of done in the style of like trying to evoke the
Kirby
to some degree, right? And of course, it looks like it's based on that early, first appearance up, right? The Silver Surfer when Doom stole the power.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, fantastic. I mean, I just think it's astonishing. I think it's.
I love how he's weaving the Kirby crackle around Doom. That's great.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, I think it's phenomenal.
And the Surfer's it's a losing position, but it's a dynamic position, so it's good. It gives it energy. It gives it.
Yeah, and you know what else? What I like is the fact that even though the heroes on the ground being defeated, these two characters are sort of intertwined with each other,
right?
And because Doom, as far as villains go, Doom is one of the greatest at Marvel, right? It, like, for most people, they won't mind what's happening to Surfer in this one, because most people who love Surfer also happen to be Doom fans.
Oh yeah, right? For sure.
And that's why. And so you're like, okay, who cares? Because look what that killer image of Doom is, right?
Yeah.
So you can forgive the fact that it's not like Surfer flying in or surfing in on his board.
Right.
Plus the fact that this particular splash is evoking, again, it's meant to evoke that original story from way back when, right? I mean, that is, in the original story, that is what Doom did to Surfer, right? So I think that's why also people wouldn't mind. I get a feeling the watcher's watching me. Oh gosh, that was a great song for that one-hit wonder. Very nice page. It certainly is. What if Dr. Doom had the power cosmic? Yeah. Did that end up being a published issue? Did that story end up being a published issue?
Well, that's what happens in the Fantastic Four. He steals the power cosmic for a while.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm wondering if was there a published issue that was, what if something like that, right? What if Dr. Doom had the power cosmic or stole the power, something like that in that original series? I feel like there was a story that they did for that. I don't remember though. And featuring Vincent D'Onofrio as the Watcher. Big collars for the Watcher. Yes. Thankfully, he's very, very small there. Should have been published. Yeah. What can I say? But beautiful to look at, that's for sure. And as art collectors, I'm glad that we get to see stuff like this, even though, never got published. Because you think about it, and I've said this in the past, that's the nice thing about being in this hobby. We will often get opportunities to see things that the hundreds of thousands of comic book reading fans from back in the day, they never saw, they never got to see, and they never will get to see, right?
Right, the originals, yeah.
Yeah, all these, the original way it was intended to be done or whatever, They're like little forgotten secrets nobody but people like us ever know, So thanks for the update. At least Miami got a score on the board there with the 7 points. Appreciate it, Marcus. All right. Everybody, let us move to the next artist. And from Ron Wilson, we move on to...
Oh, sweet.
Ernie Wrightson for the JLA Annual #2. I believe this is from 99, but
love that Batman in the
feel free to
bottom
correct me, anybody. But yeah, I mean, I love it all. Honestly, I'm like, it's just cool to see the Justice League, drawn by Wrightson. And yes, I know this was when he was far beyond the peak of his powers. He was no longer able to do that beautiful fine line brushwork that he did on the horror titles back in the 70s and in the early 80s. But it was still awesome. I loved it. And just a point of interest here, everybody. So I was told when I bought this that this was the final finished pencils for the piece. And elsewhere on the market, somewhere online, you will see at least 2 or 3 different versions of this same pencil piece. Different levels of pencil finish, though. He just kept doing different prelims and tightening them up as he went along each time. I was told this was the most, finished one, and that made this the final pencil. But who the heck really knows in the end? I know there is one on calf, but I can tell it's not the same one that I used to own. But and as for how did it get inked? Was it digital? I don't think they were digitally inking yet at this point. So was it inked on on another board? How did they do that? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
Yeah.
Yes, Marcus. Yes, I know. That's why I'm giving it to you for 40% off. How's that? Please take it off my hands. Creepy climbing cemetery hill. Yes.
Yeah, it still evokes some Wrightson there at the top of the hill and the trees and
yeah. It's got that old, and then the fact that it's a cemetery.
Yeah.
And you like the pencils better than what they did with the published piece, CJ.
I do. The Batman is fantastic.
You too, Jason.
Yeah, the Batman is great. The Martian Manhunter, they on the published, his arms look even more shortened, and so he just kind of looks off.
Yeah. Okay, well, cool. I'm happy to show it. Some more modern Wrightson.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is the only Wrightson that we have for tonight's show. However, everybody, tune in next week when we do my first, hopefully annual Halloween celebration show. I didn't do one last year. I just kind of did like a regular episode of something or other. No Halloween theme. But I'm doing a Halloween theme this year. And it's a show and tell that I put together myself. It doesn't belong to any single collector. And it's a multi-collector thing. And actually, once again, most of the pieces, I didn't own them, but most of the pieces, I don't have owner credits to, so whatever. But I was initially planning on making it a Bernie Wrightson in honor of him, a Bernie Wrightson themed episode for Halloween. But in the end, I thought I'd still like to show some other non-Wrightson stuff. But I can tell you all that Wrightson is heavily featured to the tune of probably 50%. So every second piece will probably be Wrightson.
Rightfully so.
There we go. All right. So tune in for that, everybody. And I'll remind everybody about that. And I'll show you the thumbnail for that at the end of tonight's show, which is going to be coming in the not too distant future. Okay. So from there, we jump to Tom Yeats. And speaking of what could have been a tryout pieces.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Wow. If that's tryout.
Yeah, he was always like an amazing illustrator.
Yeah.
And I think it was probably a submission meant to hopefully be published as one of those frontispieces on the inside front cover of a Savage Sword issue. It's what it looked like. The paper used is the correct paper for that.
Yep.
but it's early career stuff. 1979, it's signed. So that's what makes me think it was non-published. I also did do a very extensive search through Savage Sword back issues and could not find it either. If anybody has ever seen this or thinks they've seen it published anywhere, by all means, let me know. But I do believe this was never a published piece. But yeah, just the technique is so freaking.
Yeah, the female figure in the smoke. The technique for that is really neat.
Yeah, the lady, exactly.
Just all those tiny little strokes.
Yeah. And the way he did her in the fire that way, yeah, yeah, it's really beautiful. I got some late comments, of course, again, and so I want to say, feel free to dress up, CJ, since I can't see you anyway. Absolutely, feel free. I will not be wearing a mask. No, I will not. The only Halloween theme is the artwork. That's the themed part of the show. Better late than never. What's up, Tom Katzalovsky? What's up?
Hey, Tom.
And right on. I like that one, Rick. Trick or treat. Righteous. Exactly. Yes, sir. And that was a nice piece, wasn't it, CJ?
Yeah.
Tuttleman had a pin published in SSOC. Oh, you mean like early in his career, you mean? Yes, I know that they were Kubert school buddies. Yeah, I do know that. So, yeah, fun stuff. We're going to see now something I alluded to earlier that when you brought it up, Jason. Tom Yeats is one of the gentlemen who I had commissioned back when I was in my early days in the hobby.
Yeah.
And so, absolutely, very early, yes. And so I decided, yeah, these covers, I couldn't wait. I can't wait for these covers to appear on the market someday. Maybe I'll get them redone, right?
Oh. So they weren't even available yet. You had read the comic and said, I want you to do this?
Well, I had read the comics when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so Tom Yeats was the cover artist on Swamp Thing when they relaunched Saga of the Swamp Thing in like 1981, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Or 82. And when Alan Moore jumped on the title, well, not immediately because it didn't get traction for quite some time, but maybe a year into the title, I started hearing about it, and that's when I jumped on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back and got the back issues from number 1 up, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I always loved a lot of the covers that Tom Yeats did. But like I said, when I'm like, this is like when I'm probably 2.5 years into this art hobby, right? I still haven't seen at that point any Swamp Thing covers from the Swamp Thing run. And I'm like, man, where are they? I'd like to try to get one, you know? And so I was like, oh, maybe let me find Tom. Let me see if I can find him. I'll reach out to him. Maybe he's willing to do some recreations, you know? So that's what I got him to do, right? So with that being said, check this out, everybody. This is the first thing I had him do. So in 2001, so 2001, so yeah, at this point, it's like a little bit longer, 3 to 3.5 years in the hobby, something like that. The cover to number 1.
Yeah.
Never seen it around. I don't believe it's ever appeared in the market anywhere in the hobby, even to this day. And so this was 22 years ago. I was just like, yeah, man, and like, wow, look how closely, what a great job he did.
Oh yeah,
you know,
it's a carbon copy, basically.
Yeah. So I was just like, yeah, man, this is really, really cool, right? Okay, so now I will say actually that when I hired him to do this, I also asked him to do another cover. So I paid him for 2 covers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? True to form, indeed, Rick. I paid him to do 2 covers, and the other one, I think, was my favorite, artistically, aesthetically speaking. Okay, aesthetically speaking, this next one coming up, yeah, it was my absolute, hands down favorite Tom Yeats Swamp Thing cover. Okay, so I had to ask him, okay, can you do number 1? Like a collector, right? I had to get the number 1 cover. And can you also do number, I think, 14? So check this one out, everyone.
Oh, yeah. That's killer.
I mean, come on. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That is just absolutely, aesthetically, technically speaking, a masterwork. You know? I mean, I always loved how he had done the Phantom Stranger's ghostly image on the published comic, right?
For sure. Yeah.
And in those days, I didn't know how it was done.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, yeah, can you do this? And I was scared because I was like, oh gosh, is he really going to put the same care and effort?
Yeah.
Right.
He sure did.
That technique, right?
Yeah, he sure did.
And boy, did he ever. I was just like, oh my gosh, that is so killer. Yeah.
The background and the trees and all that stuff. That's a ton of work. Wow.
Yeah. CJ says, absolutely perfect. Marcus says, number 1 is easier to do than number 2. Yes, sir. Rick says, his best in the run. So you agree with me, Rick? You agree with me. JC, what up? That's great. And I saw you earlier, JC. Damn it. And I was gonna get to your comment. I think I skipped your comment. I'm so sorry, JC, if I skipped your comment earlier. I apologize. But hey, man, good to see you. Great to see you, actually, and thank you for coming in as always and participating, dude. I really appreciate that. And yeah, this is just awesome, guys. I mean, I don't even, truthfully, I don't know what else to say. I just thought, and when I think back to this, when you think about the fact that Tom Yeats, he's never been some superstar artist. He never gets, nobody talks about him in general, let alone as one of the greats or whatever like that.
Right. Yep.
Nobody speaks of him that way, and yet you can pull out work from a guy like this.
Yeah.
And actually see that he is absolutely capable of
competing.
Putting out work that is at the top level, as high as anybody you can think of. On a technical basis,
this is really stellar.
And JC, because you're so awesome and I appreciate you, while I was talking, I was doing double duty and searching for the other comment that I think I'd skipped, and I found it. Artists love editors. There you go. That's the one that I wanted to talk about. So appreciate you, dude. You see what I mean? I if I remember, if I forget, it's not often that I forget, but if I do, I will make every effort to make up for it. All right. And I know it's not, but still, I like to. So I appreciate people who come here and have fun with us. And it means a lot to me, so that's why. So thank you, sir. And Rick says that, his work on Time Spirits is amazing. Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, that was beautiful stuff. Rick, the only thing I kind of regret is that I was still too young, didn't really have enough money. So I would look at Time Spirits to admire the art. But of course, being the kid I was, even had I had an extra couple of bucks or whatever, that probably would have still gone to more Marvel titles at the time. I was like, that's who I was, Yeah. So, but yeah, it was beautiful stuff for sure. Okay, everybody, next piece, check this out. So after a few years after I get these 2 recreations, look what ends up falling into my lap.
Oh. Really?
Yep.
Oh. Wow. You don't have a slide with the two of them side by side, do you?
I did not do that, but
Okay.
I can go quickly this way and just see if you can sort of catch difference.
Yeah.
Here. For me, when I examined them here at home as I was making the slides, the bigger difference that I could find was just the drippiness of the stuff falling from the tree branch.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know?
Yep. It's a little crisper or sharper. Yeah. Less shaded.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, look
No,
at those parallel diagonal background lines that he used in the
Mm-hmm.
background to, in back of the trees, in back of the Phantom Stranger,
Yep.
So it's fantastic. I mean, you see this and it just shows you that for him to be able to still put this much effort into the recreation, it's awesome, right?
That's super cool.
Yeah. So it was really, really cool. But again, probably due to whatever it was that I was collecting at the time, I couldn't put this into my collection, so it just became an instant piece of inventory,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I loved it, and it was, happy to be able to say I owned it for a little while, however short that was,
That's uncanny that you just, that you had both.
Yeah, and especially that this one ultimately made its way to me a few years after I had gotten the other one recreated.
The commission, yep. Right.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty sweet. Yates is like a workman that comes in, does his job, and goes home. That's exactly right, TJ. No fanfare, no hoopla, just good, solid work. Yeah, absolutely. Very well said, my friend. Thank you so much. He deserves to hear that too. So, but Ruben, there are hundreds of recreations of this cover. Yeah, well, that's what everybody says about recreations and whatever covers that have been recreated. That still doesn't stop John Buscema, Silver Surfer #4 recreations from going for like 20 or 30K, does it?
Right.
Not that I would pay that because I don't think it's worth that myself personally, but other people do feel it's worth it. So there you go, And
There, check it. Yeah, check out the next comment.
Hold on. Super Nom, current owner me.
That's wicked.
You got it, and you've had it all these years. Awesome.
That's really a great cover.
Okay, and first of all, also tell us, did I somehow just is it due to the CAF search engine, which doesn't really, it's kind of not work. It doesn't work all that great sometimes. Is it, or is it just that, I didn't find it on CAF? Is it because it's not there listed? Because I put in Swamp Thing #14 cover, just as you see it there. Oh, wow. You're killing me, dude. Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that. Wow. That's
hopefully he got a discount because it's only half of the Swamp Thing. You should have given him some money.
And it's not posted. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Holy shit. I only used to charge $10 for shipping back then. Oh, what a nut job I was. From Canada to the United States. That's
well, it probably would cross without too much fuss back then, too.
Say again, Jason.
It probably would get through customs with less fuss back then. No?
Nah, not really. It's still about they want to charge you taxes, so whatever. It's always been kind of a hassle. Though I will admit, Quebec customs seems to be, from what all my friends in other provinces tell me, yeah, it's here in Quebec where it's really much tougher. They're much tougher. A friend of mine a few months ago, Vito, what's up? He had a package come in from Heritage, right? FedEx. It's coming from Heritage. FedEx. It gets handed over to customs. They tell him, okay, you owe this much in taxes. It was a big, expensive package, so he paid something like $700 in taxes.
Wow.
Okay. And after he pays, get this, after he pays, FedEx contacts him again and says, yeah, customs would like you to provide proof from your credit card. Can you please give a copy of your credit card statement? They want to see proof of how much the goods cost you.
What?
I'm like, the value of the package, usually the problem is that most people lie.
Right.
And they tell the sender, whatever, put $20 on the package or whatever, whatever low amount.
Mm-hmm.
And so, customs agents, they know this, right? But there's nothing they can really do about it. So they're so used to seeing the low values that when they saw the
high value,
the multi-$1,000 value for his package, it couldn't possibly be true. You must be lowering the value, and it must be worth way more than you even declared. Right?
Right.
And he's like, okay, but I already paid you.
Yeah.
The customs already
has your money.
Has my money. And now they want to see proof? Like, so stupid. And guess what? That friend, what's up again, Vito? He dropped by the other day. He says he has another package come in from Heritage.
Mm-hmm.
Again, hits customs. And once again, the same shit. Yeah, can you prove how much this costs? What the fuck?
You should ship it to you then.
Well, what do I have to do? We live in the same city.
Oh, it's coming to your. I thought he was somewhere else. Okay.
No. Sorry. Yeah. I didn't mention that. Yeah, it's my local friend here.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's it. And which is crazy because when I guess I've lucked out so far because when I get packages come in, I just get a notification. You owe this much money for taxes, and I pay the taxes. But nobody so far has ever
wanted proof.
Told me, okay, now show me proof. About it, like, go get your credit card statement. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
So ridiculous, but whatever. It looks like that's what they're trying to do. Oh, and by the way, this time, my friend, not only did they're not only hassling him after he paid, they said, FedEx says, yeah, FedEx would like to know, can you give me some more information on this artwork? Like, can you tell me, they want to know who the artist is? Can you tell me the name of the artist and what the title is for the publication?
What?
Like, what does that have to do with you customs charging me the sales tax for importing the goods?
He's an original art collector, the customs agent.
Yeah, maybe it's so stupid. It's just so whatever, ridiculous, Good night, everyone. Have a great week. Glad to see you again, Jason. You're number one.
Good night, Vivian.
Good night, honey. And free the shipping. So glad I live in the States and we don't have to deal with that. Naughty or nice, man. Good to see you, sir, by the way. Yeah, man. What can I tell you? You're lucky, actually. I mean, I don't know why the United States has that. For you, it's an exception for artwork. For some reason, American Customs has made artwork an exception on importation. So you guys are able to import original artwork from anywhere in the world, as much value of it as you want in any given shipment, at no sales tax charged. Sales tax exempt. No idea why or what the origin is. I wish, with us being, the United States is our biggest trading partner.
Yeah.
I wish we had an equal sort of law that way, but man, especially since like we have 15% sales tax,
Yeah, right.
So whatever, but it is what it is. So in that sense, you're definitely lucky, man. All of you who live in the United States. Carlito, what's up? Good to see you, dude. Ship it to a friend in America and have them ship it to you. Yeah, whatever. Like everybody does that. Whatever. What am I going to tell you? Night, CJ. Okay. Sold the piece to Italy and buyer covered the VAT. It was the same insane amount due to a new EU law passed in the last year. I know. In Europe, again, similar to Canada, there's all kinds of crazy, expensive laws with that. I know. Big Brother is pretty much like Big Brother. But like I said, it's always the Quebec government that's worse, because all my friends in other provinces, they never have issues like this. So it's always Quebec. Whatever. Hey, Customs, I'm in international logistics and we ship gold and silver. So many folks have no clue they will have duties and additional tax to pay on the gold. Yeah, exactly. So we have to pay to have the package returned, right? Because they refuse it and they're like, okay, now it's got to go back now, right? What a pain in the ass. Exactly. He's an OA spec guy on YouTube. Who is an OA spec guy on YouTube?
I think he was just saying when you were being asked, or when your friend was being asked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me say it again. You said it. You said it, Mike. You said it. I did want to say, Supernum, my brother, because you're clearly not born with the name Supernum. Can you tell me, have we been in touch in recent years, or since I sold that to you, or would I remember your name? If you don't want to reveal it, you don't have to. That's cool. I get it. But would I remember you? Do we know each other in that sense? Let me know about that. That would be kind of a blast from the past. Okay. Let us jump back into that. Okay. So after I
look at Mike's comment.
Okay. Customs agent. The customs guy is your latest subscriber. The customs agent is fuck you, pay me. I love that. That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome. All right. Yeah. So after that, wow, I don't know. We suddenly had like a leap in viewers for some reason, in live viewers. Oh my God! Wow, Gonzaga's woman. Holy shit! Wow. Okay, I'm not gonna. Of course, I know who it is. Okay. Wow. And you know what? I'm not even going to say your name by accident. I don't want to say. I think the last thing I got from you, Supernum, is when I bought one of those comics journal. Yes, everybody, I bought a comics journal issue. Not for Gary Groff's writing. It's the one with my wife. Just by the way, sorry for the interrupt myself. My wife Vivian just came into the office to go, Gonzaga's woman. Like I think she remembers the painting that I sold Supernum many years ago. It's an old digest cover. But yeah, the issue of the comics journal that had the inventory, the Marvel inventory that had been taken during the 70s that ultimately got stolen or whatever. Yeah, so it's been an age, my friend. It's been an age. So I know that you're regularly socially active on Active Media. I'm aware that, but I'm aware that it's on the CGC boards, which I'm not on. I mean, I'm a member, but you know, I go there once a year. I read a few things and I leave, right? So, but yeah, man, there you go, TJC 105, right on, baby, right on. And I think that's when you were back in Mass, although I believe you've since left there. But awesome to see you, man. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. So, yes, everybody, let us get back to the show. And so, as I was saying, after I was so thrilled to get those 2 recreations by Tom Yeats. I was like, okay, Tom, you got to do me one last one. And I asked him, of course, for this one, the very first issue, Alan Moore did.
Oh, wow.
And truthfully speaking, though, I mean, of course, it's a classic issue because it's the first Alan Moore and it's a fantastic story, but it's also aesthetically and technically also just beautiful.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's unbelievably gorgeous.
The shadowing is great.
Yeah. I mean, the lighting is fantastic. Mm-hmm. The rendering, oh my gosh, like everything about it. I mean, like how we did the lighting with the light flashing onto the back wall.
Yep.
You know, oh my gosh, yeah, it's spectacular.
Yeah, that's great. That's terrific.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Rick, for correcting me. Yes, it is I'm sorry. It was number 20. Number 21 is the first Alan Moore issue where he turned the entire origin of the character upside down. And so therefore, that's how I remember it is, you know, that's what I mean. And you know what I meant. And I think you know what I meant. First anatomy lesson issue, though. Yes, there you go. There you go. And yes, so well constructed. Absolutely. Started reading the book, the issue with it. Oh, wow, that's cool, man. Exciting time at the LCS. Absolutely had to have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really, really cool.
Yeah, that's really well done.
Yeah, so as I was saying, thank you everybody who's watching now. I appreciate you latecomers. That's really, really a lot of fun. We don't have that many pieces left, but yeah. So from there, I just wanted to quickly say, I know Marcus will appreciate this more than anybody. So that one, also, it was meant to be for me, right? And then ultimately, again, I was just like, I don't know. After I had it for a while, it's just like all the recreations. I was like, the whole idea of this was in an era where a lot of amateur artists on eBay, especially, began making their own recreations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you started seeing recreations of every cover everywhere. So just that, it made it less special to have a recreation, you know? And yeah, so ultimately I decided to sell them. Now, that one that I just showed, the Alan Moore issue, number 21, that one I decided to take a risk and see how it did on eBay. And I never really liked selling on eBay because I never did well as a seller on eBay artwork. So I decided, oh, I'll take my chances, whatever. We'll see what happens. So I sell it, and it ends up being sniped and won at the last second by Albert Moy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, cool, it's Albert. Oh, okay, that's funny. But I was like, oh, whatever. He knows he's probably never going to see the original. I guess he just, he sees it's a very, very true to the form recreation.
Well done. Yeah.
Right? Okay. So like literally no more than minutes after he wins it by sniping, he emails me. He's like, hey man, as Marcus says, for a new price. He buys it so he can put it for a new price. No. So he emails me and he says, hey man, would it be cool if I just it would be cool if I just not go through with this? Yeah, I thought it was the original.
Oh.
I'm like, in my head, this is what I'm thinking. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, at that point, I've known Albert for, I don't know, two or 3 years or whatever. And I'm like, I'm thinking, well, in the few times, well, it was actually quite a few times. At the time, I was traveling a lot to conventions already, looking for inventory and and stuff for my collection. But on the few occasions up to that point that I had seen Albert at conventions, and I found something I wanted to get, and I asked him for a even minimally tiny discount. I'm talking like, and I specifically remember one of the pieces and prices. Okay. San Diego, because I used to see him at San Diego, Chicago, New York, and I specifically remember I'm in San Diego and it's Sunday, last day of the con, and I'm looking to spend the last of my money in my pocket. Right? Not just like, because it's American money, cash. I'm like, I'd rather just spend it and put it into art than go back and what am I going to do with it? Because back in those days, I was still only using a Canadian dollar bank account, and I would do foreign currency transactions to buy the American that I needed, right? And then I'd go back and, I didn't spend it. Okay, I'll change it back into Canadian at another foreign exchange loss. Right. So I'm like, okay, better that I either put it into art, right, than changing it back into Canadian money. So as Marcus says, discount, not in the vocabulary. Exactly. This is how in the early years, that's how I learned, But I remember this one time, San Diego, early 2000s, whatever. And I was looking to spend my last, I remember it was $750. Okay. It's the last of my money. I had exactly $750. And he had a Mark Texeira painted Wolverine cover.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And And again, remember, that's also in the days when people were like, yeah, but it's painted. It's not black and white. It's not, traditional or whatever, right?
Right.
So I figured, he's had it all weekend. He had it priced for $800.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm like, cool. I'm going back to Albert's booth, and I'm gonna finish my awesome weekend by spending the last of my $750 on that Wolverine cover by Mark Texeira. It's so cool. And it's a painting. It's awesome, And of course, I'm like, hey, Albert. And I explained to him, I whip out my wallet. Literally, I go, hey, Albert. I'm like this in one swift movement. Listen, this is my money. And I pulled it out. And I counted in front of him. This is all the money I have left. And I got to leave for my flight in a couple of hours. It's $750. Can I get that Wolverine cover? And he looks at it and he looks at me. No. Literally like that. And I was stunned. I didn't know. I thought he must be joking. He must be joking. Like, of course he's joking. Why would you lose a sale for $50? Right?
Right.
But nope, he was not joking. I'm like, I was having such a hard time believing he was serious. I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. I'm like, nah, you're not serious. You're joking, right? He's like, no. I'm like, come on. You're telling me seriously, you're not going to take the $750 in cash because I'm short by only $50. Is there? Yeah. Wow. I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, really? Like, really? Wow. Okay. Whatever. What can I say? All right, man. All right. So that's it. And then I walked away, So yeah, a crazy story. So fast forward, a little bit to this time. I'm like, okay. He says to me something to the effect of, hey, yeah, I thought it was the original. Can I back out? And I'm thinking, okay, I remember how he, screwed me and not giving me the $50 discount on top of the other little tinier discounts I had asked him in previous meetings and different conventions. Right? And I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to be the bigger man. Right? I could be the bigger man and just say, whatever, fine, whatever. But then I remembered I had already committed to buying something like just days earlier from somebody else, from which the money was going to come from my eBay sales that week.
Sure.
So I needed to get paid for that sale. And for that reason, I did say, sorry, man, but I need,
if you click,
it is what it is,
if you click bid, you're committed.
Yeah. So just a funny little story about how small the hobby is, or certainly back in those days, and and how people these names you hear of come in and out of the picture, little stories and stuff, Fanfare Sports and Entertainment buys all text back then at full price. Yeah, I don't remember that. No, back away. Next. Awesome. Okay. So then we jump everybody to the next piece. Thank you for allowing me that anecdote. And the next piece is a more modern guy, but early stuff for him.
Oh, I love Lionel Yu.
Oh, yeah. Lionel Yu and Dexter Vines. No idea who owns this now. But as a big Hulk fan back in the day. And
that is awesome. That is killer.
That is so cool. I mean, and big props to Dexter for the inks. I mean, I love that blur look, the blurry effect look that like on right that it gives.
Yep.
To create the movement effect, it's so amazing. The absolute rage, the size that they drew him in.
Yeah, the size is incredible and appropriate, and love that face.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Just really quickly, Marcus, Tom bought out who? Texeira's inventory? Is that what you mean? Feel the rage, baby. But Ruben, it's a Wolverine comic. Where's Wolverine?
In this case, no discount.
No, thankfully, this was popular. Thankfully, this was very popular. Exactly. Some people don't think you'll remember. Yes, never forget. Exactly, CJ. Let that be a lesson. Nah, he doesn't care. He never cares. Yeah, awesome piece. And here I got a couple of these. There's another one, all from the same issue. Here we go. And so that's another one, sort of splash with 2 inset panels, I guess you could call it.
Mm-hmm.
So
the
still
splash part is great.
Yeah, kind of neat, and yeah, it's kind of dynamic.
Very, yeah.
And then I actually had one last one, and that was this one. So splash with 3 inset panels, and at least this time he's giving Wolverine a big hug. Aw, so cute.
I love the Wolverine face in that bottom right panel.
Yeah. It's that he's got the death stare.
Yeah.
You know?
But I forgot how good his Hulk is. I'm used to I liked him when he was doing his X-Men and Wolverine, but I forgot how good his Hulk is.
Oh yeah. Well, if you forgot, I mean, it was a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
Like when you saw this type of stuff, right? So yeah, but it's fantastic, isn't it? Yeah. And Dexter is an awesome inker, JC. Absolutely. And Tom says, nice. I met Lineal U at Fan Expo Chicago last year. Really nice guy. Yes, by all accounts, he is. Absolutely, Tom. And thanks, Marcus. So okay. So he bought all of the text art from Albert. Wow. Wild. I wonder what kind of a discount he had to work out to buy that stuff. Interesting. But yeah, really, really cool. Okay, everybody. So we now enter the end phase of not only the episode, but the Back to the Past series with some pieces by Mike Zeck. And technically it is 7 pieces left, but the first 4, these next 4, we'll go through them quickly because they are 4 pieces from a 5-page story.
Oh.
It comes with a story, but there's no sort of reason to sort of belabor the point on each single page, even though it is a very, very desirable 4 pages of a very desirable story because of a very desirable character. Check this out, and it comes with a little story as to why I sold them. I wanted to keep these forever, but it comes with a little anecdote. Here we go. So splash page plus 3 panel pages. Check it out.
Oh, cool.
So yes, this is from that.
Oh, this is from his first appearance, or his first.
No, the first solo story.
First solo. Yeah, right.
In Logan's Run number 6. Yeah, the 5-page story, and I had the 4 pages. I got the 4 pages, 4 out of the 5 pages from it.
Wow.
And yeah, how cool that it's like super, super early Mike Zeck work, and he actually inked himself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, penciler and inker.
Yeah, this is great. This is classic Thanos.
So classic Thanos, and it was a fun little sort of touching story. The final flower. Let's check out the next page, everyone. This is the 2nd page in the story.
Yeah, look at that Thanos at the top left.
Yeah. It's so cool. I mean, just full of action, right?
Yeah, great Drax.
Never knew that SE and Fanfare Sports Entertainment. Okay, well now you know, Caesar. After all those years of buying from Tom, that's funny. So funny. No discount. No discount. Oh my gosh, entertainment, science lab photos. Yes, exactly. Damn, big money today. Love this. Classic Zeck, who was so consistent. Going to have to dash. All right, TJ, thanks as always for dropping in, buddy. Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great night yourself and have a great week. Oh, and TJ, tomorrow, you'll probably be working, but tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, there is a live unboxing happening on my channel. But of course, it will still be available to be seen on Rewind after. So whenever you have a chance, please take a look at it if unboxings are your thing. And if they are, give me a comment after. Let me know what you think. I'd appreciate it. Have a good one, dude. Flower Child. Night TJ. Would say this is full Falcon. I would say so. The whole thing. Right? Sweet panel layouts. They are actually. And Marcus, recorded. Yeah, I'm gonna do all. I'm gonna do all my unboxings as pre-recordings from now on. That may change in the future, but yeah, I just want to make pre-recorded content for, some of the people who just like pre-recorded content only in short form videos. So 24/7. Okay, unfortunately, appreciate the updates. Sounds good, TJ. Appreciate it, dude. Thank you. And yeah, thanks for getting me to 30 all. Thank you, Nick, for clicking and pushing the likes. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Now 30 likes. Nice. Will it show the tip going in? It does, Marcus. It does. I just watch it. Your name comes up because of the tip. So. Sounds good, Nick. Sounds good. There's not many pieces left anyways. And thank you again for pushing the likes, man. I appreciate it. Okay, so let me check out the last couple of pages, everybody. From there, we go to this one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's just action throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, that 1, 2, 3, 4. That fifth panel with Drax going backwards. That's really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. Yeah, there's just so much amazing content. Here's the fourth page. And so I guess I'll tell you guys really quick the anecdote that goes with this story.
Yeah, where's the fifth page?
Right. So let me head back and show this one last time, since everybody loves the giant Thanos image. And then let me come back to you and give you the anecdote. Okay. So I had the 4 pages. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. I didn't want to start spending money on Infinity Gauntlet art as much as I love that stuff. It just wasn't the thing I was going to put my money into. I collected other stuff. So I'm like, this will be my one cool Thanos art part of my collection, I'm like, okay, how do I go about tracking down that missing 5th page? I'm like, where could that ever have ended up, right? How am I ever going to discover this thing, right? And Marcus, the last page was priced at $800, no discount. No, that's not what happened. I wish that would be funny. I wish I had that story to tell. No. So then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, it's possible that has never shown its, reared its beautiful head. And I'm like, well, maybe that's a page the inker had. But I said, but Mike Zeck inked himself on this story. So there's no inker to have a page. But then I was like, oh shit. The writer, that story was done at a time when Marvel's higher ups, in their infinite stupidity, felt that, okay, since we're going to be giving back the art to the artists, well, we feel the writer wrote the story they had to draw. So we're saying that the writer should get 2 or 3 pages from every story. And so this only being a 5-page story and no inker involved, they determined the writer is going to get.
You bought the 4 that you had. You bought those from Zeck?
I did not get them from Zeck.
Oh, okay.
Technically, I did. Yes, I got them from Zeck through his rep, Jim Ward.
Sure.
Yeah. And so that's it. Yeah, there you go. I saw the comment, Caesar. So I know I've known this now for years. So what happened was, if they knew you were after it, new price is 5,000. Yeah, exactly. That was but very true. That was the other thing, is that I couldn't publicize that I wanted to get this page. I had to find it on my own, you know? And so, you know, I'd spoken to Jim, and Jim knew nothing about it. And so I was the one thinking, yeah, that's a very good possibility. Maybe it was given to the writer. So I tracked down the comic. I'm like, who's the writer? I'm like, what's his name again?
Yeah.
Let me see. Scot Edelman. Yeah. So Scot Edelman. So I remember his name from comics back in those days, but not many. Okay. He did not have a long comic book writing career. But I thought, let me look for him. Let me try to track this guy down. So the good thing is that I did track him down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How'd you find him? Did you write to Marvel or?
Oh man, I was Googling. I'm Googling Scot Edelman, and I figured I'll probably get a few Scot Edelmans, but I will try to find out what try to see what do they do for a living. Anything that's in the kind of like publishing, writing, right? Yeah. Anything like that, I'm like, okay, there's a good chance that could be him. And especially if I can find an address and it happens to be in New York, there's even more possibility, right?
Right.
It just so happens I find a few, I write a few off, and I find this one who is like a writer, editor or something, book publishing or something. So I reach out. I found some email. I reach out and I ask, is this you? He admits it is.
And it was. Wow.
Right. So then I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this is he found Julian Edelman instead. and then he called up Wes Welker. Nice. Or Lawrence Welk. No, I mean, I tell him why I'm calling, why I'm emailing. And I explained to him that, listen, if you still, by any remote chance, still have this page, I would love to reunite the story. Okay. And he goes, oh man, I can't believe you reminded me of this. God, that was such a great time in my life, And I got to tell you, I do have that page.
Oh my God.
I still have that page. And that was such a great time in my career, early in my career, in my life, just starting out at Marvel.
He won't let it go.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Thanks for reminding me. He said something to the effect of like, I got to go find that page and pull it out at some point, and look at it again, indicating he hadn't looked at it in decades.
Right.
And had no idea where it was, but he knows he has it. And I'm like, and he goes, but no, I really appreciate the interest. It's great that I really love that you love the story, and you reminded me of it. But yeah, it was a very special time, so I think I'm going to hang on to that. And so he did not gift it to his dad. Almost finished, everybody. 3 more pieces. And so I said to him, listen, I'm desperate now at this point, right? And I don't tell him, but I'm telling you, I'm desperate. I'm like, I've tracked it down. This thing has to be put together. How can it not?
Right.
I'm like, okay, is there any amount of money that would tempt you? Like I said it like that. I go, like, tell me if I offer you a blank check, what that number would be. He says, no, whatever, like it's a sentimental thing, whatever. And I'm like, holy shit, man. Wow, really? I'm like, okay, sentiment. Let me play on your sentiment. You said that this is sentimental for you, and not to belabor the point, Scott. Sorry, was that his name? Scot Edelman? Anyway, but You said that it's because it reminds you of a special time in your career when you're first getting started as a writer in comics. Okay, but I know that you've written other comic book issues in that era, and I was not. Yeah, exactly, Rick. So special you'd forgotten about it. Exactly.
Right.
So you sold him the other for 40K. I wish. He's working the deal. I don't think he was, Caesar. So I go, listen, special time in your life and career. I get that. I totally get all about nostalgia. Okay. Believe me, I get that. So I go, how about this? How about you think about any issue that you ever wrote in your career? Pick any pages, go through the comics, whatever. You pick any page you can imagine that you wish you could have, okay? And depending on, from what books it are and how much money it's going to cost me, I'd be willing to buy up to 5 pages from books that you wrote that you have whatever special attachment to. I will pay whatever it takes for me to buy them, send them to you in exchange for this 1 page.
Wow.
So you will still have, yes, you will miss this page.
Right.
Okay. But at least you already had it for 30 whatever years. You got a lot of sentiment out of it. And the missing sentiment you will lose from not having it anymore will be replaced from gaining back a bunch of sentiment.
Yep.
From all these other pages that must mean a ton to you.
Right.
Okay? Nah, Ruben, I really appreciate it, but this story, it means a lot to me, just something about this page, whatever. And at that point, I have to admit, I don't know if I was in the right or not, because I will admit, listen, people who try to put back together stories, I don't feel like anybody should acquiesce to you because you're trying to put a story together. I feel like it's so hard to put stories together. You should know going in, even if you have the whole book that you bought complete, except for 1 or 2 pages, it's still often very, very difficult to put it back together. You may never still see those missing 1 or 2 pages. And if you find it, you may still find it with somebody who refuses to ever part with it.
Right.
So very difficult. And so you need to know that going in. So my view is you shouldn't feel, if you own a page of a book that somebody's got most of it to put together and he's trying to put together, I don't feel that you should acquiesce and give it up, trade it, whether it's trading, selling, whatever. If you can be tempted into doing it,
Right.
Sure. But if they're not willing to give it up, I feel that you, as the guy trying to put it together, tough beans. Okay. So I do feel that way. At the time, though, when this was happening, I was fucking pissed. I was so pissed because I thought I had the solution to his, his feelings, right? The solution to the missing sentiment of that time in his life.
Right.
And I thought I had it well covered. So that's why I was pissed. I still don't know that it's fair for me to have been pissed. But ultimately, I traded him a copy of the comic so he has the whole story. I wish I could have done that. He wants page 1. He remembers a story he wrote for Rosado that he'd want pages for. Right. Exactly. But in the end, so I was like, okay, whatever. I gave up on it. And I just decided, okay, I guess I'll keep this as a 1-page missing story or whatever,
Had you tossed a number his way? Did he know how much you were willing to pay?
I don't believe I did.
I
don't believe I did. Still, he was making it sound like it was not about money.
Yep.
So I don't think that would have mattered, but who knows, right? But in the end, I kept it for a while. And I have to be honest with all of you. I guess I am one of those people, when that topic comes up of How do you feel about it when, you have art by an artist and you find out, you meet the artist and the artist is like a prick, right? Does it change how you feel about collecting their art, buying their art, whatever, and all that whole topic? It kind of, I guess I am one of those people who the person, it matters to me. I don't know. I guess what it is, because this wasn't about the artist. This was about the writer, right?
Yeah.
But I guess to me, more specifically, it comes down to, is somebody causing me to have a really bad feeling and memory about this artwork?
Right.
I think that's what it is for me, because in the end, I did get rid of it. I sold the 4 pages.
Did you sell them whole?
And I sold them whole, yeah. Because
you should have sold Edelman's contact information then too, as part of that deal.
No, I just told the guy I sold it to this whole story, and I said, listen, I've tried, and no cigar. So if you want to try, by all means, let me know. I'll give you his contact info. And he's like, it's okay, whatever. I believe you. That's all right. But I'll buy the 4 pages, and that was it. And yeah, being 1 or 2 pages short from completing a story sucks. I know the feeling in several stories. Yeah, there you go. I know exactly. It does suck. But I guess I just feel like I don't think the people who own those missing pages owe it to you as a guy who's trying to put it together. Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm playing devil's advocate to both sides, because I also have attempted to put stuff together. I've got books from Mike Perkins, for crying out loud, that he did back in the cross-gen days 20 years ago. It's a miniseries, actually. I'm trying to put back not a miniseries. It was a 6-issue. It was a new title that ended after 6 issues. Well, they only published 5, but I have the artwork for the 6th unpublished issue. And I've got most of it, but I'm missing in total, out of the 6 issues, I'm probably missing like 12 or 13 pages. And I haven't seen one turn up probably in 15 years.
Wow.
And that's modern day comics.
Right.
From 2004, 2005, around thereabouts, So when you go 15 years without getting a single page from something contemporary like that,
right?
Imagine how much harder it is often to get older books and
yeah,
whatever. So a sour taste for sure, Rick. I mean, that's it. It was in a garage sale for $5. No, but that's it. So it leaves a sour taste in your mouth. And for me, I know a lot of guys who it wouldn't bother. Yeah, they have a bad experience, but they blow that off and they'd be like, yeah, whatever, cool. I don't care. I still love the art. I'm happy to have the art. It's just not me. Man, every time I look at it, I would be looking at it and it would rile me up. I'd feel the anger burning in my chest because of the guy not wanting to, do some kind of deal with me, where I could try as best as I could to help him. And I couldn't deal with it. And I got rid of it. How much, you want to know how much I ended up selling the 4 pages for in combined as a total package?
How much? When did you sell it? When did you sell it?
That was probably more like, that might have been between 05 and 07, I want to say. Yeah, so not early 2000s,
$2,000 for the set.
Okay, thank God I don't feel as bad. No, I sold it for $3,500.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's well worth it for all those the pages and the content.
Yeah. Because even back then, again, it's not just a 70s Thanos splash. It's from the first solo story that he's in, right? It's not just a guest star
right.
appearance, right?
Right.
It's his own story, So that's it. So I figured, $2,500 for the splash, right? That's kind of or $2,000 for the splash, and then for the other 3 pages, sort of like anywhere from $300 to $450 each, however you want to look at it, that kind of whatever. So, but that's it, But okay, everybody, and I know you, Jason, got to get the hay. Let's look at these last 3 real quick. So these last 3, Ultimate Hulk, it is a book, kind of like a novel. and with sort of like chapter illustrations, and yeah, a beautiful inked piece.
Yeah, really well done.
Nice and tight, you know. And I believe a friend of mine owns this, but I'm not sure, so that's why I didn't want to put the name. That's kind of fun. And oh, good evening, Dan. What's up? Came in to hit the like button. Got to go do some laundry. Sounds good, Dan. Appreciate it, dude. Thank you. Have a good night. And then we go to some really nice Hulk pieces tonight. Yeah, thank you. And there's another one coming up. One last one coming up. We go from this one. We go to this one. Marvel Superheroes number 71, the reprint series, which usually had reprint covers, but occasionally would have a brand new cover.
New one.
Yeah. And also by Mike Zeck. And look how funny the Mike Zeck original head and hair look like. I'm pretty sure the reason they had somebody else change it is because it probably looked a little bit too much like one of the Stooges.
Yeah.
Perhaps Shemp, shall we say?
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's kind of funny, but
it's funny.
An interesting little thing that they had to change there. You know, that's kind of cool. And just kind of fun to have early Mike Zeck art.
Yeah. And was he inking himself there too?
Yes. Yeah. Pure art indeed. Yeah. Exactly.
That's cool.
But Ruben, is it painted by Zimmelman? Well, no. Zimmelman always painted. He never painted over the actual pencils. So if you're ever buying Zimmelman art at auction, you need to know you're just buying the airbrushing. We need a Mannix to do a few Hulks. Don't recall seeing many from him. Talk to Lance and Marcus. They have him chained in the basement. These are what I call pre-chuck. Nice. And Mo from the Stooges. There you go. Okay. And Mannix did the Hulk versus Wolverine circular. There you go. One last one, everybody. And here we go.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And what I love about this one, about this one, Jason, is that I believe it's the first job he ever did for Marvel.
Oh, really?
I'm almost certain. If it's not, it is absolutely his first Captain America work. You know? And okay, sure. Because it's from so early in his career, of course, you know, they got Mike. Sorry, I forgot to I copied and pasted and I forgot to add the inker. It is not Mike Zeck inks. They got Joe Sinnott to ink this one. And because it's Joe Sinnott, it looks Sinnott-ish and it barely looks like Mike Zeck's work. I see Zeck immediately pretty much in the background characters. That's where I see Zeck. But on Cap, I don't see him, you know.
More Sinnott.
I just see Sinnott and, you know, anybody else it could have been, you know. The published version at Night Scene, to me, way better than the day.
Way better. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why they got rid of that.
I don't know why they did that either, but yeah, not... Yeah, exactly. A nice page. Yeah, they're funny that they ditched the moon. I guess they just wanted it to be a daytime scene or whatever, you know. Hulk still sells commissions for most artists. Very nice Sleeper and Simon cover. And Showstopper, yeah. And I must say, I tried getting $5,000 for this at the time.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of money. This would have been I was probably still trying to sell it in 07, 08. And I was trying to get $5,000 again because, you know, it being... a very early Zeck Cap, and that's what he first made his name on.
Yeah,
you know, on a very classic Captain America run. Yeah, took forever, and people weren't biting. People were still like, "Oh, I don't know, is it worth that much? I don't know," you know. And yes, it was high. It was high, Marcus. Yes, I admit. But people wanted it for 35, and I was like, "Nah, it's too low." I'm like, I get it that you think 5 may be too high, but I'm like, let's try to meet somewhere else, you know. And I was willing to go to like, you know, 44, you know, stuff like that, and try to meet people. But yeah, it just, people would not budge. People were trying to like, oh, 35, so getting stuck on 35. I was like, forget it. And I finally either sold or traded it. Supernum, Jim at Heritage owns it now. Okay. Never coming back to you. You had this before? Did I get it from you? I don't even remember how I got it. So, but anyways, that's a very, very cool piece. It's the last piece of the evening, everybody. For those of you still sticking around, thank you very much, everyone. Jason, stick with me for a minute, will you?
Sure.
And, everybody, just a quick reminder that tomorrow, check this out. I have an original comic art unboxing. It is pre-recorded, as you can see there at the bottom. 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, and it's like I would say, I believe a 13 or 14-minute episode of me unboxing something that I got from my collection recently. And it is indeed, for my collection, a titanic acquisition. So please check that out. Obviously, I understand most people work at that hour, so, but yeah, it'll be as usual available on Rewind as well. And and Marcus, to answer your question earlier, it is pre-recorded, but even though it's pre-recorded, it's just like my last one. If you're there live when it goes live, we can still chat live. So I'll be there to watch how it happens, live on the first showing. And yeah, so if you happen to be available, I guess I'll see you there in the chat, because there will be live chat for anybody. I don't expect more than 3 or 4 people because it's, work time for everybody. But yeah, just so you know. And after that, please, everybody, and we will leave you with this. Next week's Halloween episode, Comic Art Show and Tell number 29. And this one will be streaming live at the usual time, 8:00 p.m. Eastern, 5:00 Pacific. And if anybody is wondering, that is 19-year-old Ruben the Collector dressed like Jason, trying to scare the crap, coming out of, well, you don't see it here, of course, because I had to edit it, jumping out from behind the sofa at home as my mom was lying on it, speaking to her girlfriend on the phone.
Oh, jeez.
And yes, I'm holding like long kitchen knives in my hands. Yeah. So,
good Lord.
To my dear departed mother, she gets to make one of my 15 years after she's gone, or 14 years after she's gone, she a picture of her makes it to one of my pieces of YouTube content. And yeah, so there you go. That's what's happening there. So please check that out, everybody, next week. And I look forward to seeing you guys then. Ruben bought the art from Leonardo DiCaprio. I did not. My Tommy Enterprise comes Monday. Oh, okay. Congratulations there, #1 Marvel fan. Diamond ring. This diamond ring doesn't shine for me anymore. All right, everybody. Thanks again so much for everything. I appreciate you all as always. And yeah, like I said, if you tune in tomorrow to check out the unboxing, please leave me a comment afterwards. Just let me know what you think, or if you have any feedback about it, things I maybe can change, or you want to see change, or whatever. Yeah, any feedback you want to leave me, I always appreciate it. So that's it, everyone. I appreciate it, and we'll catch you next week. Go Blue.